cancel culture is about canceling.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
Systematic bullying that's happening.
And they believe that
Cocaína.
But it's the wax that the Terminator X spun. Now they got me in a cell cause my records ain't sell. Cause a brother like me said, well,
it's one like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, which yells you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that puts against the bed. This that I got realness, I just push cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got junk, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stopped Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stopped Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
We'll see who cancels who.
They want you to comply.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Matt, you're looking crispy. Your camera looks better, or maybe it's your computer running it. I don't know. Whatever it is, you look.
It's
you look sharp.
It's the new camera I've been using for the past couple of weeks. It's
nice, badass.
I guess it's just the settings are perfect now, and it's a better look good because it's a very expensive camera.
What'd you get? What'd you get? I want to know.
It's a Sony FX30.
Oh yeah, that's a nice camera.
Yeah, it's a cinema camera. So if I was using different settings, I would look more cinematic. Also, if I had a better background, the depth of field would make it look a lot more cinematic. But unfortunately,
you should have explosions going on behind you all the time.
Right.
Good news.
That'd be amazing. Are you using a cam link to basically hook that to your computer?
No, I mean the previous camera I used, which I still have set up, but it's not on right now. That uses cam link. That's a Sony, I think a GX7 or whatever it's called. And then the Sony FX30 though, it you could plug it in directly via USB for the webcam mode.
That's actually really convenient because cam link is not compatible with every camera. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get it set up, at least if you're not tech savvy like me. So that's cool.
And then you don't have to worry about a power source for it, because I had to buy one of those batteries that have the wire to plug into the wall for my Panasonic camera. But this one, you don't need to have any external power source because it charges via the USB too. So
nice. I like it. I like it.
They should sponsor the show. We need that Sony money.
Yeah.
I'll take a free Sony
I gotta
camera.
say the autofocus on this camera is insane. I cannot believe how good it is. It's apparently that's Sony's specialty. They have very good autofocus.
I got pretty good autofocus too. Here. Look at that.
Oh, there you go.
Oh wow, that is good.
But your camera is crisper because it's a cinema camera. I used to use my Canon C100, which is like almost 10 years old now. But there's no autofocus, so it's just like if I just like go a little, like I have a good lens, but if I go a little out, it doesn't look good. So I just got a different camera, and its autofocus is much better. So
also the settings are very important. Like the previous camera, like the camera I used to use as my main camera, the Panasonic, it always would go out of focus. And then when I was setting up the new camera, I was like, yeah, let me set up this Panasonic as like a secondary camera. And I was like playing around with it, and I was like, oh, I had it in the wrong mode. It would have been a lot better. Like not as good as the Sony, but it would have been a lot better. Like it was constantly fixing the white balance and fixing the focus, and I just had it in the wrong mode. If I had just switched it
the whole
it
time.
Yeah.
And Lance and I sitting here like peasants with our Logitech Brios. Out of date, man.
I know.
It's working just fine.
It looks good. It looks good. I mean,
people that watch political videos do not
for
care about
having
the
zero
quality of
background.
video.
What was that?
Yeah,
that's true.
People that watch political
He was
videos
right.
do not care about the quality of a video at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you don't
But
even
I
need to be a
do. That's the
person.
problem.
There's cartoons now. There's like
I mean, look at
ADI
TikTok
or whatever.
people like the shittiest cameras, the shittiest phones, the shittiest angles. There's massive headroom. Like people know how to shoot a video. I went to school for video, so I see all the
They call it
mistakes.
DJ
But it's
academic
like,
effect. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, people don't care. That makes it authentic.
Mhm.
If it looks like shit. So.
I do use a better camera for my regular videos. A Canon C100, I think. It's a very expensive
That's what I have.
camera. Oh, do you?
Or
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my other camera I stopped using, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a great
Yeah,
one.
it is.
Very spendy, but it gets the job done very well.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're talking about cameras because there's really no news happening at all.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
nothing's
been really
happening.
dead for the past month.
Right.
Nothing to talk about.
This week's been slow. Nothing.
Yeah.
nothing
Are
going
you
on.
Americans free to talk about things? Are you scared? Are you worried at any time like the Groyper hacker army that is controlling your like entire treasury is going to come after you? I hear they have security guards now and weird shit.
If you say anything in this country now, you get an automated reply from Elon Musk saying this is a crime.
I won't lie. I think that there probably will come a time where they look closely at independent media. I'm not sure what that's going to look like or what that's going to mean, but I think we right now it's just mainstream media. The FCC is going after them. But look, just personally, the FCC chair knows who I am and knows that I made fun of him, literally, because during my during the Humanist Report heyday, when I was doing the net neutrality videos, I did a video about how Brendan Carr, the current FCC chair and Project 2025 co-author, was like a bigger sellout than Ajit Pai, and I shit on him. And then they clipped that and they played it at this event called Telecom Prom, where all of the industry insiders and FCC and regulators come together. It's a very corrupt event.
No.
And Ajit Pai played that to the entire crowd of thousands of people, and they all laughed. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get like CIA'd. Should I make the tweet like I am not suicidal? Nobody will believe that because you know
because you are.
No, it's just like so. You know, I think that motherfucker he's holding a grudge because my criticism of him was scathing. And so, you know, I don't necessarily think that they're gonna haul us off and throw us into gulags, but I think that there might be pressure on YouTube, on the tech companies to like crack down on pro-Palestinian content, something of that effect. That's part of Project Esther, or not part of Project Esther directly, but there's this effort to squash Palestinian resistance, pro-Palestinian resistance within 12
Well, it seems like
months.
they're starting with
It
immigrants,
could be coming
right?
down
Like
the
they're going to
pipeline.
ship them out. I saw that they're
Exactly.
supposed to be deporting like the immigrant protesters who were part of the school because they're doing the same thing in Canada. It's the first people you can go after, I think, where everyone's like, well, maybe they're criminals. You know, I haven't seen what Jane has to say about this, but they're probably, you know, criminals who did crimes and are
They're
really
definitely
crimey.
criminals. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but
By the way,
Hitler started
David,
with mass
hey,
deportation.
David,
will
I'm
say,
really
though,
happy
that
you
if,
finally got the ire for once, by the way. I just want to say this past week,
happened
you're
to
normally
David?
not the main character of the Anna and Cenk drama, but
Oh,
David
right.
was with,
I don't know,
like,
I
they were
was-
going to town. I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, gloves are off.
I'm normally just like, I'm out of it. I don't need to get involved. I just saw
Yeah.
some dumb shit. I was like, all right.
David,
This
your
shit is too
critique
stupid.
or your back and forth was so good. I had to cover it in one of my videos. It was
Yeah,
just,
it was really
especially
funny.
that part where, you know, Jenks said to you, "Oh, okay, go ahead and get your clicks," and you're like, "I'm doing just fine. It seems like TYT
Yeah.
needs the clicks," and he came back with a fuck off! Like,
Wait,
That
what
was-
happened? I missed it. What happened?
oh, you
We
missed
going
it,
right into the
David.
Jane stuff?
Oh,
David
yeah, they
clapped
went to
some
town.
fucking cheeks.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He went to town. I've never seen angry David. It's
It wasn't even
I've never
angry.
seen a
I honestly
Canadian
wasn't
that
angry. I
angry.
was,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen angry
by
on those
Canadian
tweets. I was, like,
standards, it was
laughing.
raw anger, but it was actually very polite. Asking for evidence, you know, wild claims. Can you please provide a single example of any leftist saying or doing that?
Yeah,
And
he
he'd be
was just saying like the
"Oh!"
shit he always says. Just like,
Yeah, I know.
the left believes crime doesn't exist. Like, can you present any example of any of
Single
this?
leftist.
Like,
Right. It was so
Crime
good.
doesn't-
You know what's good?
crime
When you made it
doesn't
on the
exist.
Vanguard. You made it on the
oh yeah, actually,
Vanguard,
I saw
David.
their video. It was very nice.
I
It
don't
was-
know if I want to hear anymore after Mike said you clapped Jenks' cheeks and Lance went, yeah, he went to town.
Oh yeah.
Metaphorically.
What
Metaphorically.
was the issue? It was about what happened?
I honestly forget. What were we
He
just?
came,
it was
at,
just
he came at David again today, too, by the way.
Oh, I didn't see the second
well,
one.
to be
What did he
fair,
mention?
I started that one just because. Well, I didn't start it. He tweeted something really stupid. So
he's fully doing like apologia for the shit that MAGA is doing right now, and like the more extreme they get, the more he's like, I'm so happy that MAGA has been able to keep Trump from taking over the Gaza Strip. Like they are the ones keeping Israel in check. And I was like,
please
let me bring today's tweet up.
You've upgraded from collaborator or useful idiot to full-on propagandist at this point. If you are pushing that shit out, it is delusional. It is such a delusional.
Like tweet. I don't think he's well. Like I don't think he's grifting because they're not doing well.
They don't seem happy at all.
This isn't a grift. This is just he has lost his mind.
It's something different. Francesca put it well. She's like, it's a death pact, and they're just driving in circles, shooting wildly.
Like, look at this. Okay, let me read this. Thank you, MAGA, for pushing back on Trump's idea to take over Gaza. The idea that we can take it over, get rid of the unexploded bombs, drive out the Palestinians, and rebuild it without putting boots on the ground is absurd. MAGA v. Israel lobby is an epic showdown. What the fuck is he talking about?
I haven't seen any of that.
I haven't seen a single instance of anyone in MAGA pushing back at all. Not even a little bit.
Maybe like a comment from like one of the randos on PBD podcast or something, because the vast majority of right-wing media that I've seen, not even all of it, I've just seen them defending Trump. Like is he talking about tweets? Like does he think Trump world leaders at Twitter?
Like world leaders were outraged. You can pick out like numerous allies, between European and other countries, where that all the world leaders were like, "This is fucked. Don't do this." That was the pushback. But like there was nothing from MAGA. MAGA they're all in, baby. Like they are for this. They want another casino, 51st state.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, hold on. That's not entirely true. I did see. I don't know if you consider them MAGA, but I did see some right wingers speak out against it. Hold on, let me give you the. And
I saw
there's more to it. Hold on, where is the? Yeah,
I saw the quartering. I think the quartering said something about it, but I don't know much about it.
Here, pull this link up.
I can tell you a lot about the quartering.
But like the idea that like Trump checks Twitter and that's why he first of all he didn't change his policy. They didn't change anything. just soften the language a little bit. Let me see this thing. Hold up.
I had to call this this page out, by the way, for posting this. So Rogue DNC, which is like one of those lefty like meme pages. It's refreshing to see Republicans that are not psychopaths. And they posted a tweet from Evan Kilgore. I'm a conservative Republican and a Trump supporter. However, I do not agree with Donald Trump's call to take over Israel and condemn Israel's efforts to genocide and ethnically cleanse Gaza. I stand with the Palestinian people. Yes, we exist. Now, I knew the second I saw this, I knew exactly what type of person he was going to be. And it took me about 2 seconds to confirm it when I looked through his tweets. And a couple months ago, he tweeted, a Jew speaking at the RNC just now said, Jewish values are American values and American values are Jewish values. Nope. I'm tired of the GOP bowing down to the Jews. This is America.
Oh, my God.
And then another tweet from just the end of 2024, December 27th, 2024. It's a few weeks ago. Nick Fuentes was right. So it's exactly
okay.
There's two types. There are two types of MAGA. There are the ones who are all aboard the Israel train to take over Gaza, and there are the ones who are so anti-Semitic that that they are against it to be against Israel, not to actually support the Palestinian people.
Wow.
Okay, well, I mean,
that's
Cenk
a win.
Is technically right.
Let's have a beer.
Right. So there you go. Cenk's got his win right there.
David, you got to show your response to that tweet because I feel like you also hit it out of the park. You've been on him, David. Your tweets, I've got to say, 10 out of 10 every single time.
I don't know what got into me this week. Don't expect the last. I'm not this kind of person.
Oh, it's generally. David, it's amazing.
But I just replied saying, "Bro is talking to ghosts and thinks he's reshaping U.S. policy."
So good. So good.
The idea that like Trump's checking Twitter and is like, the quartering and that Kilgore guy is not into this. All right, I'm going to soften my language on this now. Like, what the fuck? Maybe it's the entire international community, including even like Saudi Arabia, coming out against it. Like, maybe that has something to do with them trying to not even backpedaling, but like soften language around it. Like,
yeah, and really, it was the people around Trump that tried to soften the language, like Marco Rubio saying it was an offer. Trump himself has basically doubled down. So. And this is what we saw last time too, where people in Trump's administration tried to sane-wash whatever stupid thing he said, and then he'd contradict them immediately. I mean, the same thing happened with what was it, Panama, where they had a great meeting. The president of Panama met with Marco Rubio and was like, okay, it doesn't seem as bad. And then Trump was like, no, we're going to use military force immediately. So it keeps happening. I don't know I genuinely don't know what he's referring to. It's nice that you brought this up because we have the guest for today's show is coming here in a little bit. Is Hank Thompson. He's the TYT union organizer. We do. This was planned weeks in advance.
We have to work today. Oh, geez.
We have to work. Yeah.
That's okay. Didn't Marco Rubio just get back from El Salvador and be like, hey, by the way, Americans, we've got like industrial scale prisons for you. We're talking like the Walmarts of prisons. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's fucked up. But also, why did every Democrat like vote for Marco Rubio? I also don't understand that. I feel, I mean, just as a spectator, it sounds like the Democrats try to do as little as they can and get away with that, and the Republicans try to see what they can get away with. Like right now, Trump is just like, I'm going to try everything. I'm like Jokerification, full crazy. I'm getting in there, and I'm like, I'm putting hackers and groypers, and Elon Musk can take over the treasury. Didn't one of the groypers today get outed as being like a eugenicist? Like one of the kids who's part of this, like,
and he resigned. He resigned. And by the way, his work history, by the way, his work.
Was it Big Balls or a different one?
No, it was a different one. It was the one. It was the one who had unfettered access to the treasury and already pushed new code into the treasury.
How is this happening? It sounds like
I'm sorry,
it's a Seagal movie. Like,
how is he any worse than Elon Musk, who talked to the German far right party and did a Nazi salute? Like,
well,
why does that guy have to resign, but Elon Musk is still there?
How does he have clearance for anything?
Marco Alez, Wall Street Journal, found archived tweets of his. Where he advocated for repealing the Civil Rights Act and backed a eugenic immigration policy. Another tweet stated, "You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity." Another tweet stated, "Normalize Indian hate." Another post tweeted that 99% of Indian H-1Bs will be replaced by slightly smarter large language models. They're going back. Don't worry, guys. And another one posted, "Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool." They outed these posts.
Fucking cool.
And he apparently resigned. And his work, if you're wondering where Elon Musk found this guy, his work history, he used to work at SpaceX, but now he works at X. So
is he the one that founded Tesla Sexy LLC? Is he the Tesla Sexy
no, it's a different
LLC
guy.
founder?
That's Big Balls, Lance.
Oh, that's Big Balls.
Big Balls.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought that was Chipmunk Raisin. All right,
that's the one who so far they've not found any eugenic content from him, but he has a history with black hat hackers and other nefarious cyber criminals online, which multiple experts have already come out and said, like, there's no way this guy's could pass the security clearance if he took it. Like, there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
But they are. That's the part. Like they're inside the building.
Not,
are they
they're
not?
just,
Aren't
who's
they
do
already
anything about
implementing
it?
code? Well, yeah, but that's I feel Wired Magazine is the only one that's actually doing real journalism on this topic and has been. But legacy media is like months behind because they don't understand what the fuck is happening. Like, I think they're just too boomer to be like, is this a big story? It's like this could be potentially like.
Wired is definitely doing really good. Wired is great. 404 Media, which is not legacy media, obviously, they're doing great. You know, Wall Street Journal is the one who just got that guy to resign. So, you know, got to give props. I mean, certainly, I think it's not specific outlets. I think it's specific journalists. If you are a journalist who knows what to look for and knows what to do, you're going to put out good stuff regardless of what where you work, honestly.
Well, it's scary. It sounds like a really bad movie, and I don't know how they're gonna get like. I don't know how you're gonna undo this as well, because what do you have to come in with a team of like ex-hackers, lulsec hackers that are now going to be able to deprogram the programming that has been done? Like, what happens if your finances go into some random shitcoin and everyone's like, oh, we just can't stop it.
All right. Well, it's funny you mentioned lulsec, because Big Balls has connections to a guy who is actually in lulsec.
Stop.
And
balls are everywhere.
That from like, wow,
this is real life.
What, 15 years ago now, it's got to be. Wow.
I can't believe this is real life. That's
just it honestly feels like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I go through like these periods where I'll be watching like a video on this and I'll just start to panic and then I'll go numb again. So like as long as I could suppress the panic and maintain like just perpetual numbness, I'll be okay. I'll make it through. Because it's hard to like right now it's hard to determine what the long-term effect of all of this is going to be. There's a really good piece by Jamel Bowie in the New York Times that talks about how to say that we're in a constitutional crisis really isn't sufficient. The question that we're going to have to ask ourselves very soon is whether or not the Constitution is still in effect. And at that point, we informally transition into autocracy. We don't know what that will look like. Will it be in a liberal type of autocracy where, you have some civil liberties and civil rights, but they're not protected? I mean, you could argue that we're kind of already in that territory. Will it just be an informal or soft dictatorship? I mean, these are serious conversations we need to have. And I have a video tomorrow that is very dark that talks about how we need to actually start preparing for the fall of American democracy. And I think Kyle Kalinske made a great point in one of his videos saying that Democrats need to start making some friends with the National Guard, with muscle, because right now Trump has all of the powerful institutions in his pocket. So Democrats don't have anything. They don't have police. They don't have anybody. So if Trump chooses to really take things to the next level and extrajudicially jail political opponents, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but like if that's going to happen, then there's not going to be any pushback. So they need to at least start formulating a plan to push back in some sense, get military generals on their side, some of them. Because if there's a struggle, then that's going to be better. Like any way that you can gum up the works or slow down whatever he wants to do, I think that's important at this point in time.
And I mean, step one has to be Chuck Schumer cannot be the head of the party.
No.
Oh my God.
We will win.
Have to put
we will win. We will
literally
win.
Anybody, almost
people are aroused.
Almost anybody else in that position would be better. Minus Fetterman. Like
I told the story on my I gotta get the video. I told the story on my stream the other night. I went to the Lunar New Year parade in Queens this past weekend with my family, and we go every year. And this year, though, Chuck Schumer was there. Oh, wow. And he was in the parade, walking around, waving to people. And at one point, directly in front of me, he stops and he goes, "I love the community. Look, I'm wearing red socks. I'm wearing a red tie," because they were Chinese.
Oh no!
Pointing out he was wearing.
Oh my God! Are you
red
serious?
Swear to God,
that is not. Where
I have video of it.
Going.
I just gotta edit it out because I wasn't doing video to like expose Chuck Schumer. It was a family video.
You haven't posted that?
Yeah.
What? You've been sitting on this?
It just happened this past weekend.
Breaking news. That was like 2 days ago. Oh my God!
What if this takes him down? What if this effectively gets him like outed? That you could change history right now, Binder.
It was in public in between. He was around a ton of people there. How did no one like? I don't know if maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
People are
I'm not wrong about what he said.
They're aroused. Well, that sucks.
They were doing that chant.
Chuck Schumer also started to go CCP. No, he didn't do that.
I can't. Well, we do have a guest here today. We jumped the gun by talking about TYT too early because our guest is going to give us some tea with regard to TYT. So if you don't know, there's a documentary by the YouTube channel Winners and Losers, produced by Hank Thompson. Hank Thompson is the OG organizer of the TYT Union. And so TYT, like Cenk in particular, has talked about this and completely lied about the circumstances. He accused them of bullying other workers. There was a conspiracy theory around the union. And so, yeah, we'll bring in Hank, and he's going to basically set the record straight. And Hank, welcome to the show.
Hey. Hello.
Nice to have you.
Hey.
Everybody.
Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet all of you. I hope I'm setting the record for the smallest channel to ever guest on the Leftist Mafia here.
I don't know how big's your channel.
No idea.
Oh no, I started a competition. But anyway, I'm grateful to be here. I've become a fan of all of yours in the last few years as I've been working on this movie. I sort of did most of it in secret in kind of up in the rafters of the internet, watching and waiting and biding my time, just kind of following my instinct to try to like tell the story the way it deserved to be told, or at least in a way that isn't told by the guy who did the union busting and is completely incentivized to mislead people about it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been a crazy time. So thank you for having me on. Let me see if I can switch my camera there so I can look at the. Sorry, here we go.
Yeah, and also
digital producer guy.
I've got to dig into it. I know that you sent me, it was like a sizzle reel, so we can give people like a little bit of a taste of the documentary.
Yeah, let's start. Yeah, it's in the GoFundMe. Honestly, I just launched it like 15 minutes ago. So I did a sprint today to get this trailer done, and I was like, yeah, it just took way longer than I thought, as every edit does. And this is a really important one, but it's 2 minutes, and it really kind of gets to the meat of it. I'm just curious. So before we play that, who's watched the 84 minutes, the two big pieces I have? I just would like to. I'm just kind of wondering that right now.
Oh, I haven't seen the second piece yet,
but I have heard nothing but good things. Actually, I've had a number of people tell me to watch both of them. So they're in my list of YouTube to consumes. To be
Fair.
Consumed.
Yeah. I've seen the first part. The first part is amazing. It is
awesome,
packed with information, and it's also very educational as well. For people who
That's
don't
the intention.
know about for people who don't know about union organizing, what goes into it, the tactics, it's so good. It's very well done.
Yes, that's what I'm going for. I want this to be bigger than TYT. You know, the whole thing is it's not just about like settling a beef or trying to cause a bunch of drama or whatever. It's like there's major like themes and things that people have been dealing with for thousands of years at play here in terms of how we have to put up with bullshit from the people who tell us what to do all day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, so much what's important, I think now is to raise consciousness about your own power and like the strength that you can get from solidarity instead of letting like that these monsters like scare us out of it. Cause that's ultimately what this movie is about, is leverage. So I can get into all that later on though. I'm just really excited to talk. And hit this. Oh man, I put this up like 20 minutes ago. It's crazy to see.
I'll link to this below as well.
Thank you.
But yeah,
tell the truth, Cenk.
Yes, and it's just before it's like so I have two huge pieces up. It's going to end up being probably 2-hour film, but there's currently 84 minutes total. There's a playlist on my channel. It's so 84 minutes, but it feels like 7 hours when you watch it. So just to let people know that's how it'll go for you.
Okay. So let me make sure. Okay,
little humor. Relax, everybody.
Sharing the link.
All right.
And I decided to wake up that union drive, not knowing where it's going to end up, but just being like, I got to do something. I'm working for Cenk Uygur, and I'm not getting any health care, no pay days off, no benefits at all. Felt like I was being forced to carry a dark secret about TYT. I know why we started the union. It was exploitative working conditions. And other workers had their other reasons, and there's probably some of the reasons that will never see the light of day. The first attempt was 18 months before Cenk became a politician. Then the union comes forward, and Cenk goes and tells his audience his political foes started the union in order to harm his run for Congress, followed by 2 months of aggressive union busting. Wild story. It was all to hide the truth, create a smokescreen. Because if he had to explain to his audience, oh yeah, my workers did have a genuine union here, they would say, well, what were their grievances? Why were they unionizing? And those are questions he does not want to answer. So I'm going to fucking answer him. That's what this whole thing is.
Great editing.
Yeah, it is.
I'll say.
allowed to stand up for working class people? The answer is yes! Yes! Yes!
David,
I just
saw
see what they did to Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks.
The fish rots from the head down.
And I welcome their hatred.
Well, we got some leftist mafia cameos there.
I was skinnier back then. My hair was better. It was pre-COVID.
I was fatter back then.
I ran you through a After Effects to make you look even better, David. Yeah.
I looked so.
What were you
like,
saying back
so...
then, David? Are you an enemy back in the day?
I don't. So I don't remember if I ever talked about that. I remember hearing about this, and this was at a time when TOAT got like a lot of like BS hate from the right.
Vanguard.
So
What's
I
up,
think I just
Vanguard?
sort of like ignored it.
Silly
and
Billy.
I didn't really take it
boys?
seriously. But I don't remember if I ever actually talked about it. I tend to just ignore that kind of stuff at the time, but I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm in there. Why am I in there? What was I saying? What did I
You
do?
actually just to spoil one of the better, funnier moments I think in the movies is David does have one of the best lines. He uses the phrase "bestiality front," which is like a turn of phrase that you can't really invent on your own unless you're actually dealing with the real political.
I don't
need a
remember
little
this
bit
at
more
all. That's
context
so,
there.
okay, I gotta see that.
Yeah. What
is that related to that weird diatribe that Cenk had about pleasuring horses and wanting that to be legalized or something?
It must have been, because that's the only context I would use that word.
I mean, I have been visiting a lot of farms. I have sources that are giving me inside information on that, and that'll be for my next film, "Tell the Truth, Horse." So, yeah,
I like
now,
that.
I could easily just go on. I do a solo podcast myself. I've been doing this kind of stuff for quite a long time, very poorly, very inconsistently. So I'm good at talking. So please interrupt. Anything you want to know, any detail. There's a lot to this story. It really got memory hold, and the whole union organizing drive started like 18 months before Cenk became a politician. And I'm just give you guys kind of a quick sort of 1,000-foot view, and it just happened to coincide with him deciding to become a politician, right? So he used him running for Congress because all right, see, I'm doing a bad job here. So the conspiracy lie, like the thing I'm trying to correct with Tell the Truth that I want him to tell is that the union was not a conspiracy by his political foes. It was not organized by outsiders to start to harm his run for Congress, because that's
Does
what
he still believe that to this day? Is that his narrative?
Yeah, in fact, yeah. He just did a podcast on the Generational Change podcast, and they talked about it, because my thing is starting to raise like a bunch of stuff. People are starting to point it out more. It's just getting more attention. So they asked him about it. I'm not sure where they heard. I don't know if they were sourcing materials from me. They actually were. They seem to be like framing it pretty in a friendly manner.
Sorry, his like conjecture, let's say, his statement is that y'all were completely grassroots founded by his political opponents as like a conspiracy. That's what he's sticking to, even though like it would be demonstrably easy in the opposite direction to be like, no, we're not. We just work from you. We wanted to unionize. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Lance, can I jump in? Because I'm actually in the documentary, because like a buffoon, I fell for it. So like there's a portion in the documentary where I'm brought up, and I think that Hank explains it really well. Basically, so my role in this is I initially tweeted out support for the union when they tweeted at me, and then I deleted it because somebody had reached out to me saying, hey, tread cautiously, because the union that is accusing Cenk of union busting, they're his opponents. They endorse his opponent, and they're canvassing for her and whatnot. And so I thought, oh my God, I don't want to be part of this rat fucking campaign, and I don't know what's going on. Like, I had never been to the TYT studios, and I had never met any of the actual TYT employees, so I didn't know. Like, I was aware that there was a union effort, but I didn't know if it was a lie that Cenk was a union buster. And to me, like, at the time, it seemed super implausible based on like all the rhetoric and whatnot. And so I deleted it, and I feel so stupid. And Hank, by the way, I'm terribly sorry for that, because I feel like I should have trusted my instincts. Like I should have, in retrospect, it shouldn't have mattered whether or not they had been part of his opponent's campaign. Like I wanted to like try to have my cake and eat it too. I wanted the union to succeed, and I wanted Cenk to succeed and get elected to Congress. Like I was all raw. If you go back and listen to my content back then, but I was afraid to step on any toes or fuck it up, so I just like chose to step back like a coward. And I think that's fucked up because in retrospect, it shouldn't have mattered whether or not the employees were part of his opponent's campaign in any way, which that wasn't the case. Come to find out, but like it shouldn't have mattered. It should have just been, yes, I endorse the union. Period. That's it. But I fell for it and effectively was a useful idiot for union busting. And it's so embarrassing, but it is a learning experience that I think is like important.
Okay, so first of all, you're way too hard on yourself, and I actually would like to point out. I pointed this out on Twitter. It's completely fucked that what you just did and the other stuff that you've said. And I have a quote of Emma Vigeland once expressing her regret about the way she not behaved. It's not the right word, but what she said around the time, which just wasn't very much. You and Emma have taken more accountability for the union busting at the Young Turks than Cenk or Anna have. And Anna is, by the way, not management. She's not the person who makes the decisions, but she helped signal boost this conspiracy lie. She was very important in like spreading the word. And, had she done any fact checking, like and checked with the original sources of the story, who were all in the same room with them, during the time, because this all kind of hit everything hit the fan in February I think I've done a bad job giving you guys the timeline so far, but it all kind of came down in February when the union first came forward. Cenk's election was scheduled for March 3rd. And so like there was the union came forward on February 12th after like, almost 20 months of organizing. Basically, there was a couple of different phases of the organizing. And I just want to be very clear, and I want to like clarify something that Mike said at the beginning. I was only like I wasn't OG at all with the first attempt. There was a different set of conditions that drove the workers to reach out to IATSE in spring of 2018, and that's been proven in the Politico article and the New Republic article. The workers showed emails. I don't have the emails on me. I can get them if you want to see them, but those emails were shown to the journalists that were written in those 4 articles. So I'll be referring to the 4 articles. They're all on my Substack, spalledontheinside.substack.com. I have like receipts showing all my claims. I've done a ton of work on this, but that's also a place to find the links to these 4 articles that are a great foundation for what happened with the union busting. I mean, Cenk rejected card check. He withheld raises and bonuses to punish the unionizing workers. He had captive audience meetings. This is written in the Huffington Post article that he threw papers and threatened somebody. He then fired that person the morning after his election loss, someone from the bargaining unit. He sent these union busting emails with claim. You can actually read these emails. They're in the video.
And he hired a firm too, Hank, right? That's like the part that I had no idea about. He hired a union busting firm.
Yeah, in fact, it's in your Twitter if you want to show the Mike the what am I trying to say? The NLRB notice that was generated. So 2 NLRB cases were generated. I have no idea if they hired consultants who then actively helped them do the union busting or gave them advice. There's no way for me to know that. Cenk could be honest about that. He could come forward and tell his audience how much of their own money, since they're listener funded, went towards this union busting effort. But because of these NLRB cases, I was able to confirm that they did use union busting law firms. In fact, one of the law firms is called Mitchell, Silberberg, and Knupp. They are proud to be the same law firm that represents the AMPTP, which I'm sure everybody remembers is like the Hollywood boss cabal that fights the SAG-AFTRA, IATSE, and the the writers, 2 writers unions. So they use like big business, big union busting law firms, and they got nabbed here for violating Section 7 of the NLRA. And kind of what's so funny in my tweet there is just like Cenk is denying that he's a union buster. He was called out by one of Matt Binder's callers, Hansi. I'm sure you guys recall seeing that phone call. And shout out to Hansi for being the leader of the progressive media sphere. He's the first person to confront Cenk about it. So I think that's a model for what we got to do, because he actually called him up and got in his face about it. And it was, on that, it was very weird. I vaguely remember TYT taking phone calls way in the distant past. And just one day this fall, Cenk decided to open up a phone line and have people call in to like argue about Donald Trump, like in October before the election. So Hansi got on there, screamed at him, "Are you a union buster?" And Cenk goes, "No, I'm definitely not a union buster." Says, but there's all this evidence. He goes, what evidence? And there's tons of evidence. It's in those 4 articles. It's in the NLRB cases. It's in those union busting law firms. It's in the TYT Union Workers Action Petition Network or whatever that's called. Action, that's all union busting and stuff. Richard Trumka was tweeting about. I mean, it's so well documented that it was clear union busting. Not to mention, from what I'm hearing. Hey, Rebecca. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry. Hi. Nice to meet you.
No, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Continue.
No, it's okay. Anybody can interrupt. By the way, I'll just if you don't stop me, I won't stop myself. But like completely proven union. It's not even vague. It's just the only thing that it goes to Cenk's advantage is that time, and people just kind of don't really know what was going on, and
so
sort of memory hold it.
I'm curious about what was the turning point, because they are unionized now, right? Like what happened that led to that? I assume that's why he's saying he's not a union buster, because there is a union there.
That's one of his.
Yeah. I saw that.
That's sort of his defense.
That's how he responds to Hansi, actually.
But how does he keep pushing a conspiracy theory if you're on the other end now? Like, you can easily be like, oh, but yeah, that was all not true. Says the union that is unionized that you work with now, right? Like
the interview he did last week with I did a huge reaction to it. I have like a 6-minute sizzle highlight from my 2-hour hour-long reaction. If people want to watch me break that whole thing down. So it's an important detail here. And actually, I did have a clarification just to be sure. I'm not in the union, and I'm not representing the union, just in case anybody's wants to think that about. TYT has their own union, TYT Union on Twitter. I mean, their own union. My working conditions were central to why we unionized in 2019. Remember, it got a group of workers started it in 2018. There was a round of firings. You guys remember the Katzenberg money? I'm sure everybody knows. And so TYT expanded, and as is often the case, we can make fun of Cenk's business practices for other reasons, but overshooting with a big pile of money isn't unique to him, and so they had to contract a bit. And then there was a round of firings in the summer of 2018. That sort of scared off the union, the nascent union effort at the time. But we had the emails that proved that IATSE was receptive to the union in 2018. Then I get hired again. So a little background for me. Something I relate to with you, Mike, actually, is like I'm not sure everybody else, but I started watching TYT before Anna joined the company. Like I go way back, and I played a pretty weird role in TYT lore. I recommended the show to a buddy. He became one of their first outside hires, and so in 2011, I helped this person move across the country and become one of, as they were starting to finally expand. So that was my contact at TYT, which is how I ended up there. I'd always had a creative impulse. I was living in Chicago, running an aquarium business. That's what I was doing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, if anybody needs some fish tank tips, go somewhere else. I forgot it all. At the time anyway. But that my tip is keep it simple and don't get one.
Don't get a turtle.
Turtles are great. Yeah, they're real fun if you like scooping up. Like they just poop out shit cereal. It's just disgusting. Why am I talking
turtles?
They're just gross. I mean, turtles are awesome.
My brother had a turtle. It is gross. Like, I thought it'd be adorable. My brother's getting a turtle, and it was just like a tank of poo all the time. Yeah. And I was like, you gotta clean that. God. This is ridiculous. But he's like, all he does is shit. He just shits all day.
Big lumpy poops. Anyway. Yeah. But hey, who are we to say we're humans, right? So I started doing stand-up comedy in 2009, and kind of had already been learning video editing, teaching myself editing, and I was doing sketches and comedy stuff. And I had this contact at TYT. I was really into progressive politics, kind of, but I also had sort of this American void of not really knowing. Like, I would be a little scared of socialism, a little scared of Marx. Like, those words were like boogeyman words to me, and I just never really internalized those things. When I finally learned what Marxism was about, I was just like, oh, that's like shit I think about. Like, what? That's not that. Why do they want me? And actually, Michael Brooks played a big role. I hear that all the time in our spheres here.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody says that, and I can give you my take on TYTs. My metaphor for them is they're just a cul-de-sac. There's no way they can evolve further out of their cul-de-sac. They can only burrow back towards where they came from. And anyway, so I just threw it out there that maybe I could come work for the company and getting video editing. My stand-up thing is I'd like to maybe. It was way too early in a stand-up career to pursue an LA career. But I was kind of getting sick of the fish tank thing and excited, and I had this contact, and it happened really fast. So I got to move to across the country, sold my business, and started working at TYT in 2013. Actually, just to rewind a little bit, in in Chicago, or as a comedian, I was listening to a lot of comedy podcasts, including Comedy and Everything Else with Jimmy Dore and Todd Glass and Steph Zamorano. I'm sure you guys are familiar. And he would talk about, comedy is about punching up. He would go on liberal rants. He would do this kind of thing. And I was like, hey, there's that podcast I like. And I got my TYT. So I'm the guy who recommended Jimmy to TYT.
You did it, Hank. Oh, we found the guy.
I was like, he's not referring to yet. Because you didn't name anyone. I was like, because you haven't named anyone, it's going to be either Dave Rubin or Jimmy Dore. It's going to be one of the two big ones. It's going to be a heavyweight. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
All right, well, Hank Thompson, everyone. Say goodnight.
All right.
Have a good
yeah. Well, he should thank me though.
It's okay.
He should thank you.
Tim Pool credits me for getting him his first media appearance on the Majority Board. During
That's
Occupy.
almost worse.
Are you serious?
I would say
way worse.
You've done more. You've done more damage on a larger scale.
There's a way to make up for that.
Well, none of you guys knew what they would become, or
obviously.
So
Binder did.
Yeah,
Binder always knew.
I was playing the long game. I know. I'm gonna get Tim Pool super famous, so one day I'm on his really big show.
So his dad will become a fan of you.
Yeah,
that's what it was about.
I'm a fan with you. That was a long game. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, one of the things I liked about stand-up is, and I haven't done it in some years. I did it probably 6 nights a week for about 6 years. Like I did it a lot. I wasn't just like a little bit. And I performed, I hosted shows here in LA with Jimmy in like 20, because I know my timelines are getting a little jumbled. But after the first phase, I worked at TYT. I did all kinds of different stuff. But I did Jimmy Dore's show. I was at the Current TV studio, if you guys remember that era. And then when they switched, they actually, I was like, with the company at that time. If you even remember when they had that kind of like construction-y looking background, where they just had a TV and some gray things. I built all those gray things. Those are big sound panels. We built like 24. I don't remember exactly, but they're 2 foot by 8 foot. I have kind of like a construction, doing the fish tanks and stuff. And then I actually got a woodworking job after TYT for a while. I tried to start a socialist woodworking business after the Young Turks, because I didn't want to make this movie. I know I'm flying all over the place here, but so I played a weird role in the Young Turks and did a lot of stuff for them over the years. I in addition to being Jimmy Dore's like editor, publisher, studio tech, it was a really intense thing to see like the way they would run a TV show, even with like a smaller television network like Current, but they still had way more money than on the web side. So you had these two groups of workers from different companies, and so they were using the same space. So like I would have to move all the cameras around, clean up the IFBs, ingest the videos, do color correction, get the robot camera thing ready, get the jib going. If I was lucky, I had an intern. And then all like turned around, because we would shoot after John's show. He would, I don't even know if it was called Damage Report back then. It was.
He had like a college show,
Think
didn't he?
Tank.
That was that's an old
Common
one.
Room.
Oh, Think Tank. Yeah.
But I would flip the whole studio by myself. Yet the TV show had like a person for every camera, and they had like 2 or 3 directors, and they had one guy who just cleaned off the wax off the IFBs and made sure that those things were working. And to see the budget and the amount of resources devoted to TV versus just like the website of it was an interesting thing. And so it was like a big deal for me. I had a lot to prove. I wanted to validate my friend's vouch. It was like a whole different career for me. I was very motivated. I think I'm a pretty good video editor. I think I'm pretty good at storytelling too, in that sense. I hope you guys watched the film. I know Mike has already seen the first 46 minutes. And so
I will definitely check it out.
Yeah. I would love to, honestly. I feel like I'm totally jumbled, but if you want to do like a screening and a Q&A and you want to have me on, I could watch it with you and we could answer questions or something like that. That's just an idea for people, because I'm trying to launch this fundraiser this month. I've been working on this thing for years. I've funded it off the back of my roommate, who is just so, I'm going to cry if I talk about him too much, because he's like, I've had some difficulties too in life. Learned I'm autistic in the last few years, actually. So like, that's one of those things that has been kind of like important in my story. And it's relevant too, because it's going to kind of become part of the full film in terms of like the fight here, or the sort of seeking justice for what went on at TYT in terms of my working conditions and this whole crazy weird story. Because it's
So
also
we-
not fair for me to center other people. You know, I can't really claim other people's stories other than mine. Anyway,
we touched on it
yeah.
briefly, I think. But what was the turning point that led to the actual union succeeding in?
Okay, yeah,
in your
sure.
effort?
The second election. So just the union busting failed. So Jank rejected card check. The union shows up on the 12th. That's when the Twitter account went live, and they deliver like a letter that says, we want you to recognize this union. As far as I know, they didn't, I don't know if I'm not privy to any internal communications or anything, but it all became public on the 21st of February. And so the film sort of like hones in on that. And that's what we saw in the little trailer where they say there's other motives at play. And that's when I was watching it. So I got laid off in January. I had been very closely involved. I went out of my way to wake up the union in the spring because I was classified as an independent contractor doing full-time video editing next to people who were classified as employees who got benefits. I got zero benefits, no health care, and I was the lowest paid editor too of the bunch, which is like just an extra twist of the knife. Although it wouldn't necessarily make a documentary because of low pay. That wouldn't really fly. After complaining a bunch and asking, I had a formal meeting with HR. I expressed my worries about the company. It just seemed really nuts that they were doing this. Like, why would you risk? What are you doing? Like, how much money is? I mean, it's a lot of money to me. Like, I wasn't getting. There's a whole bunch of days off. I didn't get paid. A whole bunch of no health care, nothing. Stress, really, really stressful. Just also super disrespectful. Really, just carrying all that. And you're watching videos of the guy talking about paid family leave and talking about health insurance and standing up to the bosses. And I got paper in my desk that says I get zero benefits. It's really goofy. And so instead of fixing it though, hey, maybe it's a paperwork. Maybe, oh shoot, Hank, sorry. Or they could even faked it. Oh, gee, man, we didn't know you'd call us out, but okay, well, here's your 7 months worth of pay you didn't get, or proper pay you didn't get. Instead, they reclassified me as part-time. So I didn't have to send invoices. Now I'm on the Gusto payroll. And now I'm still working 40-hour weeks, but they're calling me part-time. And
how is
it's
that
outrageous.
even legal?
I wonder that myself. Yeah. I wonder that myself. I mean, honestly, a huge reason I'm doing this project is kind of to show, look how much work I've had to do just to get a little bit of frickin' justice for any of this, right? Yeah. Like Jank, I'm sure would rather I wasn't doing it. That's probably one of the few things he and I agree on. I didn't want to do this fucking thing. This is honestly, I'm kind of pissed off that I am doing it. I was forced. I was like, and so yeah, I was wondering how that's legal. It sure didn't seem legal at the time to me. It felt honestly, it felt like they were stealing from me. Mm-hmm. I was working alongside people that were getting paid for days off, and I wasn't doing the exact same work. And the person
because they put you at part-time, and for part-time, it's like they tried to make it seem like, well, part-time workers don't get that and those type of benefits. That's why they try to do that, but they still had you working the 40 hours a week.
Yes. And everything is, I have all the information on balledontheinside.substack.com. Links are in my descriptions to all that stuff. So I can prove all these claims too. Like I wouldn't be out here saying this if I didn't have paperwork backing it up. 8-hour day, I averaged it out to 8-hour days, 8-hour, one week after the next. And, so for 12 months out of this whole 14-month engagement, I got zero benefits. And then I decided to wake up the union kind of around when they switched the part-time. And then I'm trying to get to David's answer because he's asked that question twice. What was the turning point? And so Jen goes and becomes a politician while we're deep in this union organizing. We'd already reached out to IATSE. They were receptive. We scheduled our first meeting. We held it right here in this house. That's why the kind of film is on that animation guy that it's not super heavy on that dude. I used to do a bunch of other YouTube channels. I did one called Suck Professor, and I have this kind of cartoon character that I just sort of put in all my stuff. So I don't know. That's just one of my weird things. And so we had the meeting here. I went and I bought crappy coffee cake. We held the meeting here. And as he's and so I don't have an opinion. It's not an opinion. There's no disagreement about how this union started with Jank. He's literally lying. He is making shit up that is untrue to prevent people from finding out what kind of horrible working conditions that he imposes on people. Now, I don't know if other people have experienced this kind of thing. We've all been seeing other people coming out of the TYT, orbit, expressing some of their issues and stuff. So, so now he's running for Congress, and we're doing a union drive. Nobody knows about it. You got to keep your communication off their company. It's just advice. Don't use company Slack. Actually, I remember being like, hey, so let's gotta stop this. Cause I started going to work with the intention of unionizing during that period. I'm not a sit down and take it kind of person, and people had their own issues. People, they didn't, it's so funny too that when you hire lefties, like you run a business that attracts like movement leftists who have an interest in like changing the world, and they maybe they even believe the principles that Cenk sells to the audience, like me, who sold a business, moved across the country to like fight for this stuff, and then like who also happen to be professional storytellers, and like yet you're still taking this like it's one of the most colossally like recklessly hubristic, stupid businessman brains things I could ever imagine. Particularly when he finally says the dumbest thing I've ever heard of a businessman do, which is to turn down this union. Of all people, in all industries, in the entire history of the world, the one guy you wouldn't predict necessarily, like why would you say no to the union? For so many reasons, for out of self-preservation. So anyway, so now he's running for Congress, and that sort of stirs everything up in the company. Like, just imagine anybody's boss runs for Congress. It's going to be a big, a lot of scuttlebutt and talk. And I was kind of for it, even though I was unionizing, and I still had this issue with my working conditions. And I was like, hey, you know what? He's probably going to be better than a Republican. It'll be interesting. I don't have a lot of respect for this dude, but I don't assign my personal virtue to who ends up in office. So I was like, all right. But other people had their opinions. And of course, though, this also changed the way you might approach this union. It'd be like irresponsible not to act like you're not going to take advantage of some sort of leverage opportunities, maybe. But I wasn't involved in that kind of discussions, because that would have been something they talked about after I got laid off. I got laid off in January. Now the union comes forward in February. The shit hits the fan on the 21st. So there's a whole lot of stuff that happened publicly during that time. Mike, I'm not sure when your tweet was. It was either that Saturday or that Friday, or maybe the following Monday or Tuesday, because that's roughly when things were going down. They did the captive audience meetings, withheld raises and bonuses, and all this other union busting stuff. And Cenk loses the election, fires somebody the morning after he loses the election, which raises ethical questions, in my opinion, about campaign finance, because they made a big show, as this is shown in the movie, to separate their business operations from their political operation. Because there's like with media companies, they risk becoming, appearing on their own media as becoming an in-kind contribution, which can violate campaign finance laws. I compare it to Bloomberg, like briefly in the film, and like Steve Forbes, owned magazines and other stuff probably in the 90s. He was a politician. He got like caught up in he wrote some columns, and it became like news stories. So like media owners have to be careful about their ethics. But the turning point, as far as to answer David's question, is just that the union busting didn't work. They held a second election on April 9th. The results were 9-6. So that's another thing I wanted to clarify, is that the union at TYT is only about 15 people. I'm not sure exactly the numbers today, but it was out of about 70 something employees. It was just editors, studio techs, and graphics department. So like post people that would be represented by IATSE. Yeah. So sorry, go ahead. I'm all over the place here with this whole thing, but it was really weird for me to watch this lie go out. Oh, this is very important. I don't want to leave this out. IATSE had endorsed Christy Smith at some point during the campaign. Unions are political actors, and especially big ones. And so that's the hook that they base their conspiracy on. And if you watch that Generational Change podcast, Cenk is hyper focused on whether IATSE, he even like suggests that workers got worked up. In one of his union busting emails, he uses the phrase "got you to believe." Like he really seems to think, or he's convinced himself, that the union originated from outsiders, that people at his company, the lefties who who work in this industry and aren't like slouches politically, because we're marinating in this politics all day long behind the scenes, that we would have been tricked, or like I would have been suspicious if a day or two after my boss becomes a politician and runs for Congress, that I start getting contacted by people I don't know talking about unionizing. That would have raised my alarms quite a bit. And so like in my case, though, we were 6 months deep in my initiated phase of the union, 18 months deep in the overall union drive. So I knew the absolute truth that the union had nothing to do with that endorsement at all. And as I go out of my way in the film, I spent 20 minutes trying to show much more faith than they showed the workers, by showing that there was good reasons for TYT, for Anna and Cenk to be suspicious, or at least to respond with, or to be paranoid, and to maybe initially feel some suspicion about a union showing up during this campaign. Because, and I'm going to include something like this in the full film, India Walton, Summer Lee, Jessica Cisneros. So like the way the Democratic Party like will target progressives to keep them out of power was happening here as well. Granted, it's also one of the more interesting factors or the side sort of stories is the Bernie Sanders endorsement and unendorsement, which is there's a decent chunk in the film about that as well, where, you know, and so that's why David's in it. That's why Mike is in it. I do have a clip from Lance on the cutting room floor where you're talking to Sahil about Jank. That's not going to end up in the film. I did play it on my podcast a little while ago.
Okay, I was going to ask. I totally forgot about that moment in history. I totally forgot that like Sanders endorsed him, but then had to pull it back when all the clips came out of him and like the N-word compilations and stuff like that.
So so the reason you guys are in it is because you're covering. So the film's sort of like the unofficial documentary about Jank's campaign in a sense. And I'm really trying to be fair. Like I think my intent, there's a sequence, the part where David uses the phrase bestiality front is from it's one of my favorite pieces in the movie. That's the one with Joe Rogan shows up in it, is the New York Times smear, if you recall, that where New York Times listed a interview with David Duke. Jank is still whining about that. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff where he still brings up the smear and how unfair it was. And so that's a really interesting contrast to what power gets in terms of support and cavalry versus what workers who don't have power get. We had no voice. I was the one voice, and I didn't do a lot of screaming. I didn't, I tweeted a little bit. I tried to get Mike's attention into it on Twitter. And your role in the movie is really not about trying to like assign you anything you should feel bad about. It's that
Mike.
You trusted you trusted someone that took advantage of your trust in service of their union busting, and even more in service of their preventing their audience from learning that they don't live their principles. Your trust was taken advantage of, and that's horrible. And so like so that's the sequence.
Although I hold myself personally responsible as well, because I mean it was, I could have done my due diligence. I could have gone just a little bit further and researched it, but I just took him at his word, and that was it. And I think that that's embarrassing. So yeah, I think that the criticism there is
also you didn't want to lose
fair.
your job though. You didn't want to lose your job, right? Like you could have risked having your tiny sideshow get fired, right? Like that was probably a real
I wasn't. Fear. I was only. They were only my MCN, so I wasn't an actual employee of TYT. I paid them a portion of my YouTube revenue each month, and they were just like there if there was a copyright complaint or whatnot. Those are actually defunct now because they really don't do anything. They just take money from YouTubers.
No, MCNs are the biggest fucking scams in the history of the world.
TYT was my MCN for a while. Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, the only person that I really talked to at TYT was Aaron Wykowski, and he was very, very helpful. Like he would always try to like help me navigate like different policy changes on YouTube, like demonetization and whatnot. So I mean, in terms of MCNs, Aaron alone made it like so much more worthwhile than any other MCN.
Aaron,
but
Aaron's
yeah,
I worked with him. He's fantastic.
I wasn't worried about the repercussions. I was genuinely worried that like, because to Hank's point, and if you watch the documentary, like the way he breaks down like the conspiracy, it really did like play in, because you have to think about like with my show, my entire first and second year, I'm talking about Bernie Sanders, how the Democrats rigged the primary. You know, we see the fuckery around Bernie in 2020 and around Cenk with the New York Times article. So I thought like, that, am I being like gaslit? If so, who's gaslighting me? And it was just really easy to default to, well, I guess I'll trust Cenk because I don't know any of the people who are behind the union organization. So it's easier to just say nothing. And I think that was a really bad choice.
No, but I mean, Mike, at the time, there was so much BS around Cenk's run and TYT that is like legitimate, like just right-wing BS or establishment BS that was trying to like sink him, like the David Duke interview, like all that shit. Like it's just...
that was... I rationalized
in
it
context,
too, but it's like...
It made sense to just like dismiss any, anything like that, which could have seemed like a criticism.
If anyone's gonna give you shit, Mike, they got to give you a break. You were just following orders. You just
the Nuremberg defense. Well, no, but hey, you admitted you were wrong. That's what's important.
TYT demands it.
I think it's very important that you are able to listen to good faith criticism and not immediately turn into a fucking baby and grow. Because listen, it doesn't matter like how long you've been doing this.
That is true.
How much you learn, you can always learn more. You never know enough, right? So like it's important to like understand where you were wrong and just adjust. And I think that even though I'm embarrassed by the situation, I think that I'm much more savvy now because of it. And I appreciate, like, it was an educational moment, and the way that Hank presented it was it helps me to like kind of like, I guess, understand exactly how I fucked up, which is really important. So yeah, no,
But I'm not
glad they came up.
hearing Mike, but maybe I missed it. How did you mess up?
So I tweeted support for the union, and then somebody had sent me a private message just saying, hey, there might be something weird here going on with the union that endorsed his opponent during the congressional race. And I was genuinely worried that I was going to hurt his campaign if there was like this false narrative of union busting, because I wasn't necessarily sure. So I deleted my tweet and basically withdrew my support for the union, which is not a good thing for socialists to do. So that was like my role.
Mike, we need you to quell the American uprising now, Mike.
No, but I don't, like I said, you do live and you learn, but it was not something that you were doing intentionally with malice.
No, it wasn't intentional. No,
and so I know, don't beat yourself up about it. It happened, but you weren't doing it. I know the internet will make you feel that way, but you didn't know where to go. You didn't have enough information. Things were going on behind the scenes that you weren't privy to. So at the end of the day, you thought you were doing something in support. You didn't want to mess something up. You're all about unions, but you didn't know what was going on. It sounded a little messy, so you just pulled back. And then, of course, the internet ate it up as usual. So it got a little messy. But that's not.
I didn't like. It wasn't even just about like. I don't think anybody really gave me shit for it. It was just a matter of like me just feeling like, how did I, like in retrospect it makes so much sense that like, who cares about whether or not there could be this conspiracy. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. If there is a conspiracy, that's all the more reason for him to be like, yes, I support the union, but he didn't. Well, so, that's...
release yourself. It happens, you're a good person. Okay, let that go.
Yeah, you'll burn in hell. You'll burn in hell, but it'll be like one of the top layers of hell.
As long as I can get like a layer above the demons, like the war criminals, I'll be okay with that.
Right. Trusting a liar is something we've all done, right?
Mike's gonna,
and I actually. Oh, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Mike's gonna run for president one day as like the progressive, like upstart candidate, and like the lefty, like the super, like the Jimmy Dore lefties are gonna pull up. Remember that time? The TYT.
They got me dead to rights. And he admitted it.
Shill.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a fascinating like I talked about it on my show, and actually I did like a whole reaction. You the way you handled your appearance in the film, the way I depicted you, I come at you kind of hard. Like I sort of and as I've been researching this film over the last like several years, I've become fans of leftist Mafia. I watch a lot of TYT stuff. I'm sort of always like sort of tracking, looking for new information, but I've become come to respect your takes and stuff, and watch you guys all the time. And so over time I was like, God, I hope that that's not gonna be create a bunch of problems in terms of me having to like defend myself from Mike's fans, because totally but like it was one of those things where I was like, I just
deserve it.
Yeah. But the reason I left it in is because I believe I can defend it. But a major part of this is like anger. Like there's rage here.
Yeah.
Like I want the narrator of this film, which is me, obviously, but like I'm trying to navigate two different impulses. One is to be like super fair, like really like showing a lot more good grace towards the people, the subject of the film, and try to really show a context. That's why we spent 20 minutes re-going through Cenk's campaign to establish why they had a good reason to be paranoid at first. But the other lane I'm trying to do is just like ferocious rage, and just like that's why there's like a kind of in a comedic kind of way, like sort of like in a, okay, you started this fight, well, I don't play fair, I don't fight back fair, there's no proportional responses from me. You're going to be my goal, as I say in the GoFundMe, is to make Cenk Uygur the face of union busting for the next 1,000 years. That's that's my intention with the film, as well as educate people about
I think there's definitely worse union busters than Cenk Uygur.
I've
not better told stories.
I don't know about that. I mean, in terms of I guess like a hypocritical sort of person who, but there's definitely union busters worse than Cenk.
I say go for the stars, and then wherever it lands, that's where history will be determined.
Yes, I agree, but there's only so many opportunities for this kind of justice, right? Meaning like just all we need is to tell the truth. All we need for Cenk to like be labeled this thing that he deserves, which is a union buster, is for people to read those articles. Honestly, you don't even need to trust me. This isn't my case. I'm just like telling the story, and I'm giving a worker's perspective. But yes, in the competition, there's far worse bosses in the world. But in terms of like do you deserve to be called out? Yeah, this is a cover. And then they covered it up. Like they never covered that NLRB notice we showed. That sat on the wall at TYT for 60 days. They were walking past that sign to go into a studio, and they did stories about other unions. There's a sequence in the movie, or a very brief one. It's like an array of stories that comes out of the studio, and each one of those is occurred within that 60-day period. So John Adirola, Anna Kasparian, people in that studio were sitting in a room that had a union busting notice on the wall on the other side while they were talking about other companies doing like union busting and stuff. And so like the three ethical boundaries that like I'm making a stink about are the union busting, because it's like it's horrible. It's literally harming your workers to resubjugate them. I don't think we give enough, like we don't break that down enough. We just sort of accept it as, oh yeah, just a workplace thing, bosses are shitty, workers got to fight back. But it's the deliberate infliction of material and psychological harm on your workers. It's hurting people. It's bullying.
Absolutely.
It's such a fucking disgusting thing to do, and that's why it works. If it wasn't harmful, it wouldn't work. They were trying to do that. And the other ethical boundary is the deception, is lying to their audience, lying to people like Mike. That's why I go into the film about other people, the way they responded to it. Lying to everybody in the entire like TYT sphere about how this union originated. And then the third ethical boundary is my working conditions that drove it, because, hiring somebody, calling them an independent contractor for a job that was on Friday was a full-time employee. Then on Monday when I showed up, they called it independent contractor. Like, if that's not a reason to unionize, I don't know what is, and especially the part-time thing.
And it's interesting, your whole story, Hank. It's like people, and we'll talk about it from being in like this perspective, and in digital media or things like that. There's a lot of these environments happening. Someone in the comment section was saying, like, I had a story similar. Now I've worked with TYT. My co-anchor is Ben, and we've worked alongside TYT with our own show, Like It or Not. And the story that he talks about with we were supposed to partner with each other, and we did like a trial run, and then it didn't work out because they were being sketchy. That was with us. But aside from that, just hearing your whole story, I wish that there was a union or people who could stand up or pull up against other people, because it's not only people who are powerful like Cenk in this in this sphere, like for digital media, because a lot of people who work in the space believed him to be at some point, or TYT to be that big space. You couldn't wait to be a part of them, get in there, work alongside them, tell everybody that you worked with them, put them on your resume. Maybe it was a whole thing. So, for me, and at the time, it was, it was Sean King. And he was super huge. He was super amazing, super big. And the opportunity that, once again, Ben and I got the opportunity to work with them and literally go and create something great. And the type of atmosphere that you're discussing, I wish that we were able to do that. There are so many stories online in big publications. People have gone in full detail about working alongside him, projects that have been unfinished, things that he's changed. I know because I was literally like a product of that. And one of what was supposed to be a very big news opportunity had shut down, and he shut it down, and he was able to control the narrative about what happened. And that was sick. I lost my income, lost my job, was blacklisted because a lot of people fear him. People were reaching out to me to see if I was okay, and were telling me simultaneously that, girl, can't work with you, but love you, mean it. So for years, that's why I had to take a break and go into corporate for a little bit, because go into corporate for a little bit because that was the same atmosphere. And we tried to tell our stories and stuff. No matter who we were talking to, we were doing major interviews, but all he had to do was come out and do another show or make a post and say, I don't know those people. Meanwhile, we were literally raising money to start a new project or do a new project or work alongside him. All these things, sign contracts. And then it was, these people never worked for me. I don't know these people. And it sucks because we didn't get the opportunity. We tried to unionize, it didn't go anywhere because he at that time was such a powerful person that he could just get on and encourage people to give him money for a new project, and then that would be that. And then nobody cared. And it really took a toll on other people who he had pulled out people from Atlanta who were actual like journalists, big journalists, made them leave their jobs and start with this thing that we were doing for what was supposed to be the North Star. And all of that. It was a very big project. And then just cut off all communication with these people and said that he was going to grow it, and never did anything with it. Raised funds. We don't know where the funds went or anything of that sort. And people tell these stories and it gets overlooked because of how powerful those people are. So I get it.
It's heartbreaking too. I mean, it's so frustrating to be sitting there knowing the truth and seeing the stuff and having like a paperwork that says no benefits, and to know exactly what happened while a completely false narrative is starting to swirl around because of that trust, because Cenk was taking advantage of that power. He had, I totally relate to what you're saying, and it's like in terms of its like personal cost, I mentioned some of my stuff earlier. Is like I've had mental and emotional issues my entire life. Like I'm of this like adult late identified autistic thing that's been happening the last several years. Total surprise like 3 years ago. But like my face hair is not a style choice. My beard's falling out. Like I've losing hair all over my body. I have some sort of thing, alopecia, something, but stress related, I'm sure. And and that goes back. It's not like it's Cenk's fault precisely, but the personal side of this whole thing, we're all sort of conditioned not just to act like it's okay that we have to be stressed by our jobs. Just it's okay for employers to abuse. Like think about if Cenk disrespected somebody out of $500. In my case, it's thousands. 20 days of unpaid days off is $3,460. The bonus, I got bonus for like a little chunk of the year, even though I had been working full time. That's over $2,000. Healthcare stuff. Like we're talking about a lot of money. And just in terms of like my own health costs too, like I definitely could have done without the stress, and I could have done without having to pursue this project and move on. I try to do like woodworking videos and stuff or other stuff, and I still have like leftist, interest and stuff. But yeah, it's like, and the system will force you to not do it. No one had to, like, this is a major red flag. I kind of want to try to get on TikTok. I've done a little, but I want to sort of ask HR managers, like, hey, HR managers, because like, hey, hiring people, is it a red flag to make a documentary about an employer called Tell the Truth Employer? Like, is that going to make it hard for me to get a job in the future?
Because you
it
just have to go
is.
buy a moniker in the future or something.
I don't care. I mean,
I do. When I was working for corporate, because they had to tell me, they were like, they pulled me to the side. I know who you are, and I've seen your stuff. So,
that is
and I'm
so
like,
scary,
yeah,
though.
what you want me to do? What you want me to
Yeah.
do? They were like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to go by another name, and that's fine. I was Rebecca West.
I'll go by Rebecca West then. I think that'll probably go.
That's a good name. Okay,
Mike, did you said someone reached out to you? Was that public or was that behind the scenes? Someone
This was private. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to say who it was, because they were just this like, they didn't know as well. They were kind of passing along something that somebody had told them. But
Fair.
yeah, it was privately.
No worries. It's okay. But that sort of speaks. Like Dan from the internet said that they brought him into a meeting to ask if he was involved at some point during this too.
I could tell you off. I could tell you off camera later. I don't want to say it online, but yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand. No worries. But another thing that's really needs to be pointed out is their version, which is that workers were manipulated by outsiders, only works if you say no to the union, right? Like,
right.
There's an easy way to avoid that trap. Like 1960s Batman got out of more complex traps than that, right? Like it's so clear. If you think that you're about to get like the only way this plot works is if the guy who has spent his entire career telling a camera how important it is for workers to stand up to themselves says no to the union, and nobody would make that bet that he would be stupid enough and reckless enough and immoral enough and unethical enough to try to not accept the union, even against his wishes. We knew he wouldn't like it. Like nobody knows their work. Everybody who works at TYT knows Cenk far better than anybody who's ever watched a show. no matter how intense your parasocial relationship is, you get to see a different side of these people when you work somewhere. That's true for everywhere. So like we were very confident he would not be happy, and we were anticipating it being pretty intense, but it was just like completely wild that they actually did a union busting campaign and tried to stop it. Like it's so thoroughly documented, but just say yes to the union, stupid. It also forecloses on you leaning on your labor bona fides for future political ambitions. Like, was there nobody in his advisory board or his treehouse of dipshit executives that said, hey, wait a minute, hold on, our brand, like in any other company, we could probably pull this off because we're all evil, but our brand is to be different. We've anointed ourselves the police who, call out companies for workplace abuses and stuff like this. Maybe it will be, we might not like it, but we should probably say yes to the union just out of sheer self-preservation. And their audience would have loved to have supported a fundraiser if that's what was needed to raise, to meet some union wages and maybe up the benefits a little bit. I was making $21.63 an hour, man. I would have been thrilled with $24 an hour for 15 years of experience as a professional video editor. Like I was a cheap, very high quality editor. Like I shared a thing with Mike earlier. It's on my YouTube right now, but it's like, I did a lot of really valuable work for them. I worked on this TYT Academy thing, which is like a journalism training course. There's an article that said that they got paid like in the mid 6 figures. Like, I don't know, they probably could afford to pay me $173.04 for Labor Day while I was working on that. Like that Bernie Sanders t-shirt, if people recall the live streams, is that blue Medicare for All with a heart Band-Aid. And it's like a commercial that they play. It's like a Photoshop fast forward thing, and then it's a commercial. That's all me. I made that. That was when Bernie was in the hospital with his heart attack. AOC endorsed him, if you guys recall. I was working there, and I just had like a few hours. I was like, I had an idea. Hit screen record, did it, made the commercial. Took me about 6 or 7 hours total, like of a few emails after that the next day, because it was like a viable thing. I didn't have health care while I worked on that. I didn't have health insurance while I made that t-shirt.
And I'm sure you didn't get any royalties for the...
They gave me a t-shirt. I got a free shirt. So that's cool. Jank will probably bill me for it. He'll probably send me a bill for it. So go ahead, Jank.
Wow.
Probably need it. Like I hope he bought something nice with all my money that he kept.
What you say lines up with like what Hassan said as well about like the things that he created that he didn't have any ownership of, which is
didn't they get like 20 mil? Isn't there a story where they got like $20 million worth of funding? Didn't they have more than enough money to be able to adequately pay all of you at the very least? Like, it doesn't even sound like your demands were unreasonable. It sounds like you said you wanted 21. You had $21 an hour. You wanted 24, like a $3 rate. I also worked as like a freelance video editor. That's way underpaid. Like in Canada, you would be paid astronomically more money than $21 an hour for an editor, even if you weren't like full time, even as a contractor.
For a network that size too. Like
absolutely. Yeah,
I gotta just briefly, not me, Lance. When I started at CTV News, I started the year that they decided to start paying people way less. So it went from 25 an hour to start freelance to 17 an hour. I was cutting national news at $17 an hour.
What?
Yeah,
it was terrible.
You should have formed a union,
David. That's dangerous. Yeah, you should have.
We had a union, and that was part of the negotiation. Was that the people that were there longer had benefited in other ways, but people that were just starting out had to take a massive pay cut, and they kind of fucked us.
Right. Damn. It's nuts. Like our editing was going on televisions too, because TOT has distribution deals with some cable packages and stuff. So 21, like, my freelance rate was like $40, and I always felt like that was, I'm a little bit weird with money. I honestly, it drives me kind of crazy that we all have to be addicted to this stuff our entire lives. But even if I were getting a contractor rate around 40, which is low for professional LA video editing, but nevertheless, that's okay. It still would have been wrong. But I was paid less per hour than everybody else, paying higher tax burden because of the misclassification. And that means TYT had a corresponding lower tax burden because they weren't paying their share of the payroll tax off of that. So the stress cost was just enormous. And so like this is funny that the guy is like surprised that his workers unionized, because it's like I keep saying on my show, but like if you didn't want your workers unionizing, be the Daily Wire.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe that's
we have ruthless capitalists. Then it just comes to the brand.
Yeah,
Hank, I wanted to ask you as well. This is kind of like unrelated, but I think lately I heard the figure that like, and you wouldn't know anything lately because you haven't been with the company for a while, but like they said they had like 75 employees. When I heard that was like stunning to me, based on like Like, I feel like that's unfeasible. Do you remember like about how many people were working there, and does that even seem accurate to you?
You know, I don't have any insight beyond. I've heard the same number thrown around from Jank, I think, on air, like from you guys, as he's been doing all these shows and stuff. Nobody's more poisoned by this whole thing than me, by the way. I've been so sick of these people. Unfortunately, the film looks like it's going to succeed, and that's a curse that I've done. But that's the risk I took, I guess. But like, so yeah, I don't know if currently that's accurate. I would bet it is. I do recall hearing the number 80 or so around my time back then. You know, yeah, and I found a clip of Cenk talking about paid family leave from like 2015, where he's saying like he's explaining like the tiers of a company where like over 50 you should be providing paid family leave, 50 employees, meaning because it doesn't make, you know, and I kind of, I'm not saying I agree with him precisely, but like small companies can't necessarily support the same sort of output, you know, overhead as, you know, as companies grow, for instance. But so yeah, back then he said it was for 6 weeks of paid family leave. So he's always been sort of negotiating his conservatism through the show. And then these days, I think he's just kind of like leaning back towards where his roots are, that the reactionary impulse. Because I think ideologically they're incapable of evolving away from servicing power, servicing capitalists, you know, and it's probably makes the most sense from a business perspective. But like I was making this point in my show, like the guy has no idea how powerful he could be. No idea how powerful he could be as a global labor leader. You know, I'm going to give away a bit of the film here, but like he has a messianic impulse. If you see Mad as Hell, the documentary, I remember going to the premiere when it first came out. But you know, his whole thing is, I'm going to fix it. He's the champion. He's the hero. He gets to be in the glory seat. I almost said glory hole. That would have been, that's the opposite. But
one man's glory seat is another man's glory hole, you know?
That's true. Yeah. Although a sit down I think you got to stand for that. If I'm looking at the physics of, but okay.
Depends on which stall you're in, but
true. Wow. Sorry.
Not that I know from experience, obviously. Like literally, I'm not being like I don't know, but I've seen documentaries.
Documentaries. Yeah, I used to call those nature films. No, but yeah, what was I saying though? I lost my train of thought. But
I'm sorry, I threw you off.
I derailed myself. But yeah, it's just so funny to me that it still boggles my mind that he was dumb enough to reject the union, to just fall for that trap. Because that means that the official story he wants his viewers to believe is that Nancy Pelosi and Christy Smith dispatched their IATSE minions and set the world's most obvious trap for him, and he stumbled right into it. That's his way of he'd rather be known as like a complete fool than a union buster and a boss whose workers had to secretly organize a union to stop highly unethical business practices. You know, it's amazing. That's
a great way to frame it too. Like if it's a trap, yeah. Oh gee, and then because if you watch him on the Generational Change podcast, and I'm actually going to reach out to them just to sort of let them know, and you know, I'm sure they would bring you on too, Hank. I feel like they would.
We'll see. I'm not looking to like fight with people. You know, I'm not going to come at them with like an aggressive. I find that I always try to at least offer people good faith off the jump, as you know, rote business for me. But he's really dialed in on the endorsement and the fact that IATSE had endorsed Christy Smith. But like, it's just to finish the thought I was trying to connect earlier, is that like, and I make this point in the film, is like, okay, this union shows up, you're not sure what's going on, you're in the middle of this very contentious and intense political campaign. It's pretty weird, it's pretty unique. TYT's status is this big online presence. Anna Kasparian took on a tremendous amount of extra responsibility. And one thing that kind of hurt, like knowing Cenk and Anna in person as humans, is like I've seen some of the, you know, I've had a closer seat to the kind of river of hate and vitriol that flows at people who are very prominent online. In my very small way, it stresses me out, and I'm a nobody on the internet. You all have had far more experience with it than me. And Cenk and Anna being on the internet since the very beginning, they're really have taken a ton of that. And I think that's actually sort of what informs a little bit of their kind of the bubble that seems to be forming around, or that has formed around them, in addition to other factors and stuff, obviously. But so Anna took a ton of pressure, and it was really intense as far as I could tell. It was intense on everybody in the company. But because this union showed up, may have made them like suspicious. The appropriate next step was to fact check, not to go forward with the story, right? Instead, they didn't fact check. They didn't they didn't say, hey, people on the other side of the room, we just want to make sure before we smear your integrity publicly, did you get reached? When did this union start and why? That would have been a very appropriate question. The sources for their information was in the other side of the room for them. Or maybe it was inappropriate for them to talk to the union because it had already become a little contentious. I was no longer with the company. They could have DM'd me. They had no reason to distrust me. I would have told them the truth. But that's what underpins my theory that they were motivated to deceive. This wasn't just a mistake, because if it was also a mistake, then when information came out, they would have apologized. They would have said, oh my God, geez, we really blew it on that one. Hey, everybody, we want to make sure that our workers' integrity is protected. They didn't do that either. They covered it up, and eventually they're going to have to acknowledge it because of my project. I mean, I don't see this going away, particularly when you see how excellent and hilarious the film is. But like they didn't fact check. They should have fact checked before smear. Like Cenk Uygur used his media company to smear his own workers in a bid to protect his political ambitions. Like fucking villain stuff there, man. And also it served because so when you say, oh, this wasn't an organic union, this wasn't a worker-led union, which it was, they said it was the establishment. At Anna Kasparian, in this really fascinating interview with Nomiki Konst a few months after the union drive ended, like in July of 2020, she air quotes union busting, first of all, which shows that either she doesn't know what happened or she doesn't think it was union busting or somehow. But she indicates that the oh crap, oh God, there goes, geez, it's gone. It was an important point. I didn't want to lose that one. ADHD. Geez, it's good. It's
it'll come back.
But yeah, I know. Oh man, I know. Brutal, horrible. No wonder. All right. Well, sorry about that.
Well, while you're thinking about that and coming up with that again, I wanted to know what's the silliest thing Cenk ever did at one of the union busting events? Did he ever scream and throw water? Did he chug milk? Like what was his technique?
I just to be clear, I never attended any. I wasn't there for that, by the way. But yeah, I assume he probably
speculate wildly. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm guessing he had a whip and just like made big sonic booms and scared everybody. Yeah. He and then he offered to have a beer with everybody and sit down and have.
You got to do that part.
Makes sense. Important. That sounds like something he might do.
Gotta have that beer.
I mean, he does it essentially virtually. He talks crazy about them on TYT, these episodes, him and Anna, and then will try to pull up on their shows and try to say, like, what did I do to you? Well, I love you. You like what? Come on, tell me what. And I'm like, it's insane, but
yes, it's given crazy.
Well, one last thing, Hank, is I wanted to give you the opportunity to basically make a pitch for your GoFundMe. Because you said it just launched today. So if you could do that and also plug all of your socials and any closing thoughts of what you ultimately want to get out of this to the audience, just use the platform for a few minutes to promote your stuff.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Yes, I sent you the link, Mike, and just launched it. I'm trying to raise 50,000. I was first going to go for 25. But then I'm like, this is for 4 years of work. I don't think $50K for 4 years of work is that much. I owe my roommate $30,000 for rent. I need shoes. Like I'm pretty down bad for money. My dad helps me buy food. Like I've been in a pretty dark place in terms of income. I wrecked my wrists at the woodworking job that I had after TYT. And one reason this took a while is because I didn't want to do any content until they finished the negotiations. So I did a podcast, which is sort of the foundation of the film. I waited until the 18-month negotiations happened, which itself is a union busting tactic, by the way, because you don't have to pay union rates during that time, and you can kind of wear out the union. That's another way they try to do it. But I waited, and then the film, and it dawned on me as I got going, if I could find the piece of paper that I should have. Somehow I managed not to get it. It's like my best move. It's where I pull out the NLRB notice showed up in my mailbox. How the hell did I not? I swear I grabbed it. I'm sorry. I literally launched that GoFundMe like 10 minutes before I jumped on this live here, by the way. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I was going to do this move where I pull up the sheet of paper. It's really impressive. So websites, anyway, I'm expecting the film to maybe take another 6 months to finish. I need the stress levels to come down. That's what the money is really for, so that I can complete this. I feel like I have a wretched baby in my womb and I need to get it out. Like this thing is so poisonous to my soul. I want to move on to do like editing and teaching and stuff. I'd like to try to do instructions and maybe online courses and tutorials and sort of whatever. That's my next project, as well as maybe other movies if I can. But so Winners and Losers on YouTube, all one word, patreon.com/winners and losers. I'm going to have links everywhere for the GoFundMe. I'd love anybody can donate what they can. If there's also like donation links for direct PayPal, coffee, and Patreon. I've been doing podcasting since 2010, off and on. I've had various stretches here and there. I do some video game stuff too on a channel called Suck Professor. That was sort of how I leveled up at video editing. So I've been posting some Valheim playing there. I love playing Rocket League too. I'd like to get like a leftist Rocket League gang going on though.
David plays the hell out of Rocket League.
See, that'd be so great. I'm like, where is he? Get him on. I know that he's at the video game. I really want to do video game stuff with people.
That'd be fun.
So yeah, patreon.com/winners and losers. That my output is pretty inconsistent compared to the people who are really cranking stuff out, but I'm doing stuff all day for this project. And there's countless 10-hour, 12-hour days in that film. That 84 minutes that's in the playlist that you can watch, that's 2.5 years of work for that 84 minutes. So like if you've ever spent money on a movie that you didn't like and it went to some big studio, maybe throw me $10 for the ticket for that work for 2 years of work for one video. Or, I don't know. I'd appreciate that though. And I'm bad at this part of it. I'm really good at the video editing, but the pitching and the promoting.
I'll pitch it for
honestly,
you. Watch
more
it.
Than money.
Go watch it.
If I just say this though, more than money, promotion, be annoying, get loud. I really hope to land this plane here is, I hope this becomes a vehicle for other people's stories and other people's stress and other people's rage about their employment conditions and their work. Because we got to stop these fucking bosses, man. Like they're going to kill the planet so that their little lines can go up, and it's not working for them either. They're stressed and like the workers are the only way that Earth can defend itself, and it has to happen. And we need to get angry, and like we need to stop accepting this bullshit that you're just allowed to be abused by somebody because they're called an employer or an employee. It's an outrageous and outdated construct that needs to fucking end. And I don't know. That's where I come down on it. And check out my show. This is basically how I podcast. I yell for a while, and then people get tired of listening to me.
Well, that's why your documentary is so important, because like the goal of being a leftist is to empower workers. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Again, cannot recommend enough. Watch the documentary. It's so good. I did not realize that the second part was already out. I'm going to watch that, but I'm probably going to watch the first one first because it's like a big piece. So no, thank you so much, Hank. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. And if anybody wants me to come on your show and we'll like a screening and a Q&A maybe, or any little bit, I'm down. I'm always there, and reach out. So let's make it happen, because this is an important story. It's way bigger than jank. It truly is. It's about all these pieces of shit.
It's about workers. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And burn in hell, Mike, for your sins.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you?
All right, take care.
Bye, Thank you. See ya. Bye. Bye. I'm going.
Bye. What happened to David Dole? Did he do a little Scundini?
Yeah,
he said he had to go. Today was going to be.
He was going to have to dip out.
Yeah.
He
put it in the,
a likely story.
Yeah, and we didn't mention earlier, but Ariana, she'll be back next week. She was taking a break this week. She's been relentlessly bombarded by liberals who are just using.
Oh yeah, that's been a great thing this past week. Just watching all these bloodthirsty, like what is going on? Did people like the Krasensteins making posts for like, "Are you happy? Are you happy to see what you see?" What? No one's happy. This is what everyone wanted to stop. Like, why are you ghoulishly taking like joy in this moment? Aren't you happy? Isn't it great to see them destroying Gaza? It's a parking lot. Aren't you happy? It's a parking lot. Lol. Like, okay.
Yeah, I just feel like, how do you? Yeah. I'm struggling so hard to see that story about Gaza being taken over by Donald Trump, and then your initial instinct is, oh, let me go laugh at the Muslims who didn't vote for Trump,
people,
but wanted to vote.
Protesters.
yeah, they didn't vote for Donald Trump. A lot of people, like Ariana Jasmine in particular, she voted for Kamala Harris, but a lot of them stayed home. They did not vote. But like your first instinct is to shit on them because they were trying to get the Democratic Party to not do a genocide. And like we're talking about like uncommitted. They could not have been more reasonable if they tried. They did everything in their power to bend over backwards to appease Kamala Harris. And they even like were trying to say, listen, we want to support you, but it's so hard when we're canvassing to make the case when people are saying, I'm not going to support genocide. And to see the response, it's been really blackpilling. Honestly, and to see the way they've treated Ariana has been really pissed me off.
No. So the way they're treating Ariana, I'll say this. Now, the way they're treating Ariana, absolutely, especially because she's squad, right? We don't play that. But I think that it's okay for people to have the conversations, but the way, like, have your point and move on, or don't. I think that, or have it in your kitchen, at your kitchen table, have it on the phone, have it at, this conversation on the phone with your friend. I think that you can have your frustrations about it, because I know that I was frustrated at some point last year before the elections, that people were saying they weren't going to vote at all. I had a problem with that. And I was like, and it wasn't only people who were, just all the people, not people who were, pro-Palestine. I've seen it. I went to her rally and I saw the people, outside protesting. I was down for them protesting and I went to the rally, right? We were what we want for America, we all wanted something good, right? So I didn't want Donald Trump to be president because I knew what it would look like. But I also knew there were people out there who were like, no, because everybody is involved in this. So everybody has blood on their hands. I understood that. Do what works for you. I'm not going to go out there and take the poster out of their hands and tell them not to go and protest. But I also was still wanting something different in the White House. And in order to do that, we had to vote, right? So I think the conversations can be like, fine. But people coming online and making it seem being bullies and all of this, I don't stand for it, because I feel like I do understand we have emotions for it, but the I told you so's, it's a little too late. Like, it doesn't matter, right? At this point, Donald Trump is worse. He did what he's talking about is what I'm hearing. I don't know. It's breaking me apart just knowing that he's out here saying these things about Gaza. Just like, I knew it would be bad, but just it's nasty. But people need to leave Ariana alone. Now, it's not only Ariana that I'm seeing get this. A lot of other people are getting it online. It is nasty.
The people getting it were the ones
Also,
they were saying they knew it was going to be bad.
Trump is only able to say this about Gaza because of what Joe Biden did in Gaza. I mean, it's ridiculous to act like there was some other, oh, Joe Biden was giving a magic pill. No, there was no message to people who viewed Gaza as their number one issue that things will get better. There just wasn't. In fact, they started to ignore them. I also was telling people that I believe Trump would be worse, and that this wasn't, if you were a single issue voter voting based on Gaza, then you really had no choice but to vote for the person you thought would not escalate it to the next stage. But Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris were doing nothing to assure them that they wouldn't escalate it to the next stage. Like, you or I know this because we're in this world that, there is a difference between Democrats and Republicans. But I still have to say, like, they were not displaying a difference. I'm sorry, they just weren't. Would they say the U.S. is going to take over Gaza? No, but at the same time, I can't imagine Biden stepping up to Netanyahu if he said Israel was going to take over Gaza. I mean, there was no choice for people who Gaza was the number one issue. I'm sorry.
The vote was for a genocider or a genocider. Like, it was a vote for who's going to oversee the genocide.
All the Democrats had to do was just tell them that, listen, let us get past this moment, and then we will, this will end.
I think
more.
So they wouldn't say that.
They couldn't
do it. They wouldn't say that outright. They said it in so many words. I mean, they gave us nothing. I told you the bar was low, very low. So they gave us really nothing. But I'll say this: I think people are going to look for somebody to blame. It makes a good talking point online.
Right.
It makes a good like tweet. It makes a, like finding a person, sticking to this person, especially if they, you know, have a following. They will come for you, and they will be that way. People are angry. People are looking somewhere to place it. And I think that the anger is displaced. I think the more that we divide in this way, we're never going to really focus on the real issues. And it's funny because it's people that were supposed to be in your camp, right? It's these people who are supposed to be the same ones. Like, that's why I think the Democrats and progressives and liberals and the left, we always fall short, because we're so quick to be like, but remember when you said, it's never, there's no togetherness. And the Republicans, I mean, they'll fight each other, but when somebody says something, they'll be like, who you talking to? Like, they'll come together and then turn on you. So I think that there's just so much division. I don't like the way that they're attacking Ariana. I don't like the way they're attacking other people for other issues outside of it just being not voting for Kamala or whatever. Let's be clear, though. Ariana stated that she did online vote. So with that out the way, I think people are just looking for some place somewhere to place their anger. And we know how online can get. If your tweet or your post end up in the wrong side of the internet with somebody else who has a large platform, they will push it and push it and push it. And we know they'll run to your comment section and make you feel crazy. And so I think that, you know, she has the right to take a break right now. And I know it's tough. So this is, you know, what I told Ariana, like I told Olay, like Ben told me, like, it gets crazy online, especially when you get viral. You like, oh yeah, your girl got viral. Then they find stuff on you.
Yeah,
and now they're in your comment section saying everything. And it's like, oh, and I remember I was like, Ben, they're so mean to me. He's like, Rebecca, don't read the comments. Now this is like 10. And I had to, and that was tough at first, but then I realized
it's hard to not read the comments when you're under attack like
I do
that.
it easy now, baby. I get online. I know some things that I say may be controversial. I know that some things I say may not sit right with people, whatever the case may be. But I'll go into my comments. But I'm not, when I'm going on other people's channels and stuff, you know, if I know it's a safe space, I will, just to interact on the lives. But once that thing is up, I don't go back. I don't go back to it. That's not my business anymore. You know, sometimes my thoughts do change but you'll hear my different thought on the next video. Y'all be so stuck on that video. Go look at something else. Go look at an updated video. There's something else there. It could give you more insight. But people like to be stuck on you know, something where it can give them hysteria, rage, all the things.
But well, I was going to say, mathematically, if you combine the total votes for every other third party, Cornel West, Claudia de la Cruz, Jill Stein, she doesn't win a single swing state. So, like, to blame Muslims or to blame people who felt powerless and couldn't watch their families or their friends' families just get bombed to bits every day, and to blame them of all people, to be like, the powerless, really, it's people who don't have power, who felt afraid and are not, and now, instead of actually like trying to challenge the very people who are doing the genocide, you're going after again the most afraid and the most terrified among us. I think it's like it's both disgusting, and it just keeps people who are doing terrible things, it makes them more powerful. They get to keep doing worse things. And
some of these liberals, like, they
get mad at them.
They're really the embodiment of scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds, like with the things that they're saying, like the overt racism that they're engaging in. Like, there's the viral, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but after the election, and like, listen, you all know me, I'm all like, fuck Trump supporters, fuck around, find out. Not like, but I'm not, like, I'm reasonable, right? Like, I'm a dickhead, but I'm a lovable dickhead in some ways. But like there's this guy on TikTok, it was a liberal guy who's like, hey, there's people that in the Latino community that voted for Donald Trump. So if you see that they have family members that are undocumented, here's the number to ICE. And seeing that,
who said that?
What?
I don't remember who it was. It was viral.
But it's like, out your neighbors. Go rat them out.
Yeah, that's not my fuck around and find out. That's like you punishing somebody who had nothing to do with it. So like, to deport somebody who had no say is the same as some of these liberals who are like, oh, I have no sympathy for them, when it's like, But like there are family members who are dying. Like a lot of people in Dearborn have family in Palestine. A lot of people all across the country have family in Palestine that have died. So for you to say you have no sympathy when those family members who died because of our bombs, that is sociopathic. Like I'm sorry.
My favorite were the people who were like feigning concern
for the first time,
the Palestinians
right?
in Gaza.
Yeah.
Like there are the
beans.
liberals who are like trying to like dunk on like the pro-Palestinian people, but then there's the ones who are like, look what you've done to Gaza. Now, are you happy with yourself? And then you look at their past tweets.
It's sick.
But then you look at their past tweets, and over the past year, they were like, Israel's got to do what they got to do. I don't know how they live next to these people. Are you kidding me? This is what you
They have a
want?
right to defend
How are you
themselves.
going to pretend this isn't what you want? Like, this is what you wanted. Like, you are step with Trump here, but you just don't want to admit it.
That's the
like,
thing.
you'll be the first to line up for the waterfront property that Trump
Oh God,
rolls
yeah, the
out there.
Riviera
Like,
that
are
he
you
wants to
kidding
build.
me?
Yeah. Yeah, I love how everyone just like completely is just okay with Trump being like, you know what? Israel can't colonize Palestine. The U.S. is going to colonize Palestine.
Like
we're making it the 51st state. Like y'all
you
get
know,
the new beachfront.
Like I could just,
So
I could just
fucking
imagine,
insane.
I could just imagine someone on their phone like, "Are you happy, pro-Palestinian crowd? Look what you did to Gaza now!" As they're like dancing on a Saturday night at a electro nightclub in Tel Aviv.
Yeah,
you know what
it's a
I mean?
psytrance,
Like,
no doubt.
It's just so, and for all of that, like what is so wild to me is for people to have that reaction and immediately see that news and oh my god, who can I blame? Because like when I saw that, I legit felt like shell shocked when I heard like when I saw the clip. Oh, we're gonna take over Gaza. I was like I felt like fucking like in the movies where it like zooms in on your face and like it's zooming in close to you in the background, zooming away. Like I was just like, what the fuck am I hearing? Like I couldn't even
You don't
process
get Greenland
it.
anymore.
Just
you don't get Canada.
no, there's no.
You get Palestine.
They wasn't
Palestine
speaking
is
no
gonna be
other
the
language.
51st state.
Trump said, "Look, I'm not mincing no words. This is what we about to do. Like it's better that way. We'll get these people off of. We'll get these people out of the place that they know, right? There's sacred land for them, and then we'll just put them somewhere else. Make this real nice for the people of Israel.
Promising
Like,
them apartments and shit.
like let's do
Clean
something
it up for everybody else, not the Palestinians.
Yeah, but not the people who live there and are also already had nothing and built something from nothing in this land. And we'll just, put them somewhere else, like real far away.
So
That's what they wanted, right? So we'll give them what they wanted.
Trump was talking about how how the Palestinian people needed to leave that area because of all the death and destruction there.
Yeah,
for decades. He said it's been going on for decades.
The death and destruction.
Yes.
He's like,
and then
I'm like, y'all not.
I don't know why they keep dying. Do you?
Did you see
We're all
his
trying
face?
to find out who did this.
Did you see Netanyahu's face when he was saying
I
that?
know.
Oh, it's
I know.
terrible. They
Big
can't live there.
smile
It's
on
not
his
even
face.
habitable. And he's just smiling the whole time. That made me want to destroy my computer screen. Like, I'm not a violent person, but that made me want to fucking flip the table.
Pure evil.
It's just straight up
Unadulterated
fucking evil. I'm sorry, Rebecca.
No, it's so much evil that's been going on. I just, I haven't seen y'all in a while. I haven't had the flu, but it's just so much evil that it's just, it's really hard to be. We're only like, are we a full month in yet? No, we're not.
Not even a full month.
It's hard to be somebody who has been, and I know like all of you has been covering this, and I've said this a million times. It's just, I am drained.
Yeah,
I'm drained. Yeah. I got I'm Black, a woman, got family who's literally immigrants who came here on a program recently and are afraid that they're gonna get. It's just having to talk to them and try to like calm them down, and then and then I'm a graduate from an HBCU. It's the whole thing. It's a whole thing, and I'm I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Like, it's traumatizing on so many levels to different people. Like, my niece doesn't follow it as closely as me, but she like called me and she's like, I legit don't want to go to the grocery store because I'm afraid that like I might be questioned by ICE. And she's a citizen, but she's a Latina. And so like that fear is something that she told me she's been carrying around. And also called me worried about like, cause she also has a trans daughter. Like when I talk about my nieces and nephews, they're closer to me in age than like my brothers and sisters. Cause I'm very young. So like, my great niche. You know, she talked about how her daughter's like, after Trump signed the executive order, before I even knew that he signed the gender affirming care ban, you know, my niece, who doesn't follow it as closely as me, was like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What exactly? You know, it's just like the sheer panic.
To calm them down. It's just,
and it's like I don't have the words to calm anyone down who does, you know, because it's like they're finding out faster than me somehow because I'm still working on my last video and shit changed, you know,
it's
like
true. Every second you're covering something, you go. I had to get off of social media for about like 3 days, right? Because I was already sick, so I was like, shoot, I might as well just get off. And I just took the apps off my phone, and
Smart.
in the time I was still getting the news, you know, the regular way. And I'm like, dang, it's something new every second. But then when I went back online, it was like the things that I missed, and then all these other new things. And then it was just like Elon Musk now. And then it was like this, and it was like that. And I'm like, it's too much. It's all this commentary, no commentary, everything, something, nowhere. This person's an expert now. This person is, so many people have picked up a microphone. So many people have become content creators and have now just since the man literally got inaugurated, and they had good, like a lot of people were watching their stuff just from what they were talking about that one day. Now they are all experts overnight on these things, and it's pissing me off because I'm like, oh, see, now you done covered the Target DEI story and you were loud and wrong. And you got all these people underneath this thing thinking that it was because of alleged boycotts that got it here when it was not. We got to, if we're going to give the news still, we got to give it, right? And then we give our commentary. But people are following misinformation like nobody's business. And it's pissing me off. That's adding to me. It's pissing me off because there's people out here like y'all, like me, who are actually, that we'll give you what the news is, and then we'll give you our commentary. We'll tell you what the facts are. We will research,
and we'll issue corrections when we're wrong too.
Literally,
it's
that's the frustrating part.
There's no scruples.
No, it's so difficult to keep up because you like we just saw last week with the lies about the 50 million condoms to Gaza. Well, a couple days later, Trump upped it, and then it was 100 million condoms to Gaza. So like the lie grows, and the fact check can't keep up. And then there was also this story about Politico, they're getting millions in USAID money when it was a complete misrepresentation, but it blew up in right-wing Twitter. And it's just like the government paying for subscriptions to Politico Pro, which is different than the news website. It's so hard because like this is information warfare, like it's InfoWars, unironically, and they're winning. They're winning because it's so much easier to just say some bullshit lie
play catch up
than it is to correct it, right? Because you have to do your due diligence. Some of these are complex.
They've
sometimes
moved on
it's
to
based,
the next story.
Yeah, it's based on a kernel of truth. So you have to find that kernel of truth and work backwards from that. It is so difficult. So like we're entering this like post-truth era where everything is completely subjective.
We're in it. No,
we're deep in the fucking poop.
There was no like, we thought, okay, let's start coming together so that we can keep combating misinformation. Before we can finish saying keep combating misinformation, people were already with microphones geared up, ready to go. Then the news itself, they was allowing these. It's too much for me. And then I get so upset because the people that they're pushing are the ones giving the misinformation, but because it sounds good. And it's not helpful. A lot of hysteria is going on. And a lot of hysteria is going on. And I don't know, like when my family members are calling me, Rebecca, what's going on? What's going on? Now I didn't hear, like, give me a second. Let me look at this story. Let me see what's going on. Give me a second. Rebecca, but he said this. Hold on, y'all. Now I'm flustered. I got anxiety, high level. And you know, I gotta back up for a second because it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. In my personal life, what does that look like for me? You know, I have to take time, large amounts of time to disassociate. I gotta create, but I gotta disassociate and touch grass just so I can keep my sanity. Because I'm not trying to lose my mind this year, the next year, the year after that, and the year after that. Who knows what can happen after in between that time? I don't know. And I'm just like, I'm stressed out, and we haven't even gotten to a full month yet. And he's just chilling and saying all these things. And I'm like, a lot of the things that affect each and every one of us up here, it's like, or people that we love, we don't even really know what to do at this point. It's kind of like sit back and let this go, or it's like I want to be at a place where I stay informed and I can inform people, but I can also touch grass. Like I don't know how to balance all of that. But I'm pretty sure I'll find a way. But right now, I can't fathom.
We're trying to find our footing at first, which none of us have, I think.
The ground is unstable, baby.
No,
it's crazy.
And what you said, Rebecca, about touching grass is so important. Like yesterday, I realized, the thought crossed my mind, I don't think I've been living since Trump was inaugurated. I've just been existing. Little things that I just acknowledging my dogs, aside from the hi, just sitting there and petting them and just enjoying TV. I'm always distracted by thinking about this. I'm just existing and going through the motions, and I'm it's really turned me almost into a robot where I had to catch myself. I'm hey, stop, pet the doggy, really dedicate your attention to them, play with them. Don't just go through the motions, throw the ball, and just think about politics as you're doing it.
Yes. What are you gonna do next? What happened? What it's gonna look like for you? How are you gonna break this down really for people to understand it? How are you gonna and then personally, how are you taking it? Are you okay? Oh my God, it's a whole thing. What am I gonna cook for dinner? But Trump just said this. Oh my God, now it's so bad. And you don't even realize that you didn't even step out, look at the sky for a second, at least watch the flowers. Take a breather. This morning I was starting to do my first, this whole year I haven't done a solo video. I've done work with people, but I haven't even done any solo work. I've started a Black History special on Shorts, which gives me joy.
Nice.
I was too sick to show my face, so I was able to do voiceovers. Beautiful. Bam. But I was scripting something, a story, and I was like, this is overwhelming me right now. And I had to just stop. It was this morning, and I just drove to the mountain, and I went on a 2-hour hike, just real slow.
That's a good idea.
And then I went on a run during that hike, and then I went back and I walked just to kind of breathe, just check everything out, even though everything looks like it's still winter and it was a 73-degree day. But I was just I just need to breathe. I need some sun. It was super early in the morning, and I didn't care how long I was outside. I was just I can't. I just need something. I need something to cool me down mentally. I'll be back to the work, but it's just it's been a lot. And for us, it's okay for us to say that this is a lot for me right now. It's okay for you to say that. And me, I go to therapy, I touch grass, I talk to the Lord, go to church, those things. And it's still a lot in between, because I'm dang, what is this going to look like for me also personally? I was just saying in the chat, I don't really eat eggs like that, the way that Americans eat eggs. Same. But I went to the store, and I'm in a predominantly white area. Ain't no eggs. Ain't no eggs.
This is Trump's America.
The price of eggs have not gone down. Oh, there's also all the bird flu and shit too, isn't there, right?
Which we are in the dark about now, thanks to the CDC.
Oh,
blackout.
That's right. So it's not happening. That's cool.
They also took down the contraception page on the CDC.
Waffle House added a new surcharge specifically for eggs.
What? Waffle House, no.
But I thought that was so funny, to do that now, just 2 weeks into Trump, after he was we're gonna bring the price of eggs down, and Waffle House is there's now a surcharge specifically just for eggs.
Instead, trade war.
And then the planes, right? I'm going.
Yeah, that's
there's a hysteria around that now, and rightfully so, because these plane crashes we have no information on. Media has really moved on from it. So that's another thing. I had talked about this on Threads.
Right? It seems pretty obvious what happened. You get rid of DEI, planes.
Exactly. All of that. That's what happened. But they're not giving us any information. It's kind of push that to the rug and push that under the rug. And I said this the other day. The fact that we've moved, we are in a place now where we're so we are desensitized. We just are. But we're so desensitized and taught to subconsciously, we don't even know. We just have been programmed to just move on to the next issue, and our condolences just come in the form of hurry up and tweet about it, make it a viral tweet, and that's our that's our condolences. And once that tweet goes out, it does its thing. We moved on to the next issue 5 minutes later. And I'm like, wow, we give no honor to the people who literally just died in something so tragic. The next day, there was something just so tragic, another one. And it's like the story of that little girl coming, getting this surgery, and then boom, and she didn't make it, getting life-saving surgery over here from Mexico and doesn't make it. No one on the plane makes it. It's just, I feel like it's okay for us because it's affecting us in some way, and it's going to show up in another way. So I say it's okay. I feel pain for that because that could have been family members, it could have been friends, it could have been anybody. And the way that they're dismissing them, the next day people were just tweeting about, once again, attacking Ariana when they were still looking for bodies in the water, right? Like, there are bigger fish to fry here. They're y'all worried about Tabitha Brown and why she still has her partnership with Target when they're literally taking away so many other things that will affect you directly. Let's focus on how to there's so many other things. And I just, you see, I'm going crazy right now.
It's hard to process it all.
It's so many. It's overwhelming.
I will recommend everybody to honestly, and this sounds like I'm making like a joke, but like honestly look into mindfulness. It's actually like, it sounds new world and hippie, whatever, but it's actually really like, it's just being more thoughtful, essentially. Like, if you're not into meditation does not help me because my mind moves too quickly. But mindfulness has been something that has helped me to kind of like be more present in the moment, to where like you're not just eating without tasting. Like, you're taking in every single second of life, and you're really like relishing in it. Like, you drink your coffee and you really think about the taste, and like little ways to extract joy and pleasure from life when things are really dark and bleak. I think that it's really important that you try to find a way. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, for me, it's P. Diddy documentaries. Those are what get me into the happy place. So that's what
if that gets you into the happy place, hell.
I mean,
different strokes.
Whatever different strokes.
Pun intended.
That's crazy. But it is a time. I think that everybody, I don't care what that looks like playing with your kids, loving on your dog, sitting in silence.
Oh yeah.
Like playing some music. I will unplug my internet. I will turn my the internet off on my phone, and I will sit here and you will hear me singing. At least I can sing. So my neighbor probably be like, "Girl, shut up!" But you hit that note. Like I will sing.
I bet it's beautiful.
Like a lot of music. I'll just sing like Frankie Beverly and Maze. It's like Valentine's is coming up. There ain't no love for real, but I will play music that centers love from the 90s, from the 80s, from the early 2000s. Only positive love, nothing about breakups, heartbreak, none of it. It's just love. And I'm going to put on a cute outfit, and I'm going to take myself out. And just, I don't care. I'm just going to go and put on a cute outfit, take myself out, go dancing, something of the sort, and not feel crazy about it. I started to feel crazy, y'all, because I carry all Haitians probably do this, but all of us in our car usually have something to let you know we're Haitian. And I have like this big thing in my hanging off my rearview mirror. It's the Haitian flag. And I keep getting crazy looks. And now, when they said that Haitians was eating cats and dogs, they was giving me crazy looks. Then I took it off. But then I'm like, girl, no, you Haitian, put it back up. So I put it back up. And every time I'm at a light, I feel like they're just staring at me crazy. They're looking at me crazy. I don't like feeling this way. I don't like feeling this way. And then if I'm speaking another language, which usually I do, because my family is Haitian, if I'm in a store, they're looking at me crazy. I feel like I almost can't even be myself in this time. And it's just too much.
And I'm glad that you caught yourself there and you corrected and you put it back in your car, because it's like you can't give in and let them win. Like, you have to unapologetically be yourself. Like, I saw on Twitter, somebody had gotten a trans flag tattooed on their wrist, and then they followed up and it was like, I want to get it removed. Anybody have recommendations? Not because they just like were worried. Like, they didn't want to let everybody know that they were trans. They were scared. So it was like,
That makes more sense than I was thinking. Like, oh well, I'm done with this. I'm done with this.
No. They were just like legitimately afraid. So like, don't be afraid. Be like, now is the time to force yourself to be more unapologetically you. Like this pride, like pride's canceled. Like I think that I saw somebody tweet about like the pride being canceled because the flags can't be flown and it's not going to be recognized. I'm like, okay, well then we're just going to be extra gay. Like I'm going to talk with a lisp and
it
be
goes
loud
back to
and
being
sassy.
a protest.
Yeah, I'm
It
gonna be
doesn't
as
go away.
stereotypical.
But like, that's the thing. Like, pride only was sort of accepted in the past really couple of years, right?
Like 5 years at most.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even really like I remember seeing the Xbox change their logo to the rainbow flag, and then I saw the comments. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
back to the roots.
And that's why Target was
back
really
to being radicals.
Yeah.
Target. That's why Target had pulled away and they got sued because they was like, all right, we down with the DEI. All right, put the LGBTQ stuff in the front right here. We're gonna celebrate Pride. Okay, put the Black people just in the center, not too much to the back, but they inside, right? We're gonna handle that. And then when Republicans were getting upset, then they started to, pull away, put the stuff on sale. I remember they put it on sale, all the stuff. And then they lost money. They lost money. And that's why their people are suing. It's not because I wish it was because the boycotts were working, but it's not that. It's not that at all. These people Target was dumb and they wanted to be on both sides of it. And here they are because the people with money is like, run me my coin. Y'all ain't tell me it was going to be risk with this. So run me my coin. And that's just basically what it is. People all these big businesses because I remember, I didn't forget. When George Floyd, was murdered, people were outside protesting, getting shot with rubber bullets. Breonna Taylor, and it was all in the midst of COVID, and Black people are trying to fight for their right to get vaccines, and because white folks was mad that they was sending vaccines to them. It was a whole thing, right? And so all these big box companies were like, you know what? Let's make a candle. Put a kente cloth on it. And then remember Nancy Pelosi, she put the kente cloth on. It was all
Juneteenth ice cream and all these corporate products,
watermelons, and they was doing all the things right that they thought were inclusive, LGBTQ stuff everywhere. The right was mad, but they was holding on strong to their stuff. They was running over Budweiser. They was doing all the things with their Ford F-150. They was doing all the things, but they were I remember because they wanted to make sure that they supported. Meanwhile, it was all draped in capitalism because now I don't see much LGBTQIA plus support. I absolutely don't see when it was Juneteenth last year the same way that these stores were doing and selling the product.
I don't see anything about Black history. Nowhere.
That's the problem. They put it in the activism. It's the problem.
It's not. It's just literally like let me just the same way I think that people
they profit off civil rights movements. Like they're profiting off they turn it into a product. Like there is blood on those flags and there's blood in the people who have marched on the streets for those causes, and they want to turn it into something they can sell you.
Then look what they said about Black history. We will not be celebrating Black history, but we will be celebrating American history, which means you don't want people to know about Black history at all. So that's why even in my sorrow, this actually is a feel-good project for me. The Black, I call it the Black Haven. It's a Black history series that I made, and I'm just putting out just little things that I think are nice. Is good information for people to learn about Black people, and it might be small, some might be big, but it just goes to show that there is no history without Black history in America, around the world, period. Like the simple thing, like the high five, right? It was made by, or a Black person is credited with that, and his name is Glenn Burke, and he was a former baseball player, now passed away, but he was also the first gay Black athlete known in baseball, and they wouldn't credit him with anything because he was gay, and he was openly gay, and so and he was Black. So those are the things, like literally the simple high five that everybody does, literally, like stuff like that. And I'm like, there's so much information, there's so many things that Black people have created so many things, like the light, the traffic light, phone, like cell phones or stuff like that. Black folks did that. White folks utilize this stuff every day to get online and be disrespectful towards Black people every day. I'm sick of it. They love peanut butter. I know white people love y'all peanut butter and jelly, and you wouldn't have that peanut butter.
Peanut butter was invented by a Black
It wasn't
man.
for a Black man. You know? So
the single greatest like thing ever created in the history of mankind. Literally.
See?
All right, we should. I gotta head out, so we should do some super chats.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. You want to go first, Lance?
But yeah, I only have a few. I'll read them out really quickly, and then I'll raid one of you. Thank you very much to Charlie Martini, second gifted month win. I appreciate it. Thank you very much to Tokyo Hands for the 12 months. Wiseland's giving out all my secrets because you're paying me to. Tokyo Hands with 1,000 yen. This Voltron of fuckery is exhausting, especially since I have no idea who, with the exception of one, these people are. Only 9:40 a.m. for me, and I need whiskey because of this. If it's going to be whiskey time, make it Centauri time. Roizina, pre-Yiddish uranium decay killer. Thank you for the $4.99. Candace Owens sounds obsessed with peens and dinosaurs. I don't know if y'all know, I was talking about this earlier. Candace Owens is the #1 source on the internet now for Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama. It is the most impressive right-wing pipeline I have ever seen outside of Gamergate. No one is talking about it
she's like covering it
because she is covering this topic daily with really juicy gossip, and her clips are going viral. Like Andrew Tate clips went viral on social media, little small things, and now she's considered the #1 source for news on like Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama. And it's like, it's obviously a huge pipeline because no one knows how extreme she is.
Wait,
no one
is she
knows
making it political, or is this just one of her?
She's keeping it Hollywood drama gossip, and it's
wow.
it's all over platforms where she's normally banned. Like TikTok, her clips are going so viral. I had people who are non-political be like, "Do you know who Candace Owens is?" And I was like, "Yeah, do you know who Candace Owens is?" And they're like, "She's like the Hollywood gossip girl." I was like, "Oh no, what's happening? This is really bad. Oh no, this is a really big pipeline. She is going to make so much money and funnel so much women into the far right through this strategy." It's like, oh no.
Wait,
so,
what? Wait, who?
Yes.
Who, the Hollywood gossip girl?
She is
got a story.
Like, so right now, if you look at Candace Owens, and Brett Cooper saw this and is copying her right now. Brett Cooper came back. Her second video is on Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, 2.7 million views. She just left the Daily Wire, exploded. Now Candace Owens, look at her new videos. Every single one is Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. She's taking little clips of them, putting them on social media and other stuff, and they're going viral. She's considered now like one of the authorities on this gossip.
I don't even know who the fuck these people are. I have to learn though, so we can unradicalize them.
Too. Blake Lively is the girl, but
where,
I know
where are these clips? I don't see them. Like, I'm looking at her channel. Where are these?
Candace Owens channel. You can go to Candace Owens channel right now on YouTube.
No, I know. I'm looking. Where are these clips?
You probably got 2
It'd be under shorts, probably.
Well, if you
think
watch
it's like in the
videos,
longer episode she does, and then she just cuts them into shorts?
I don't know who's uploading them to other platforms. If you want to see her actual videos on her YouTube channel, you
I see them now. They're in the live section, not the video section. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, she is
contributing to
crushing it when it comes to Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni drama. Like it sucks. Bay Photo, thank you for $4.99. Thank you so much. Wired just broke. All right, I'll let you catch up with that after. Wired just broke that Elon and Doge Groypers are working on a chatbot for the government called GSAI. I'm sure Binder probably is going to cover that too because it's fucked up. Looney Tunes, thank you for the $4.99. Solidarity for Ariana. Libs need to grow a pair of balls and leave her the fuck alone. And Catherine Wolf, thank you so much for the $10. Please expound on obstruction and quorum calls in the House of Senate. I'm sickened by the votes they just gave up. I'm sure one of you can.
Legia Miller has a video on it. Go watch Legia Miller's video. She covers this exact thing.
Okay. I'm gonna take off, y'all, but I love you. I'll raid the Humanist Report or Binder, who's ever still streaming. And I'll send them.
Sounds good.
Nice. Take care, Lance.
Bye, friends.
Bye. Love you. Mean it.
Bye. Love you too. Bye, Rebecca. Adios.
Rebecca, did you want to go next?
Yeah, let me go because I know y'all gonna be here till 2 a.m. You know what I mean. But I was here though. Okay, let me see. Because I know how to do it now because Ariana taught me. All right. Tig Wig, thank you so much. $20. Always good to see you on the show, Rebecca. I appreciate it. Kuya Damon. Happy Black History Month, Rebecca. Shouts out to you. Sending love from Boston. Oh, Boston. Want to hear your thoughts on last weekend's Grammy wins. Was really excited about Doechie's win. Doechie was amazing. Loved her. Loved her speech. And I've been following her story for the last few years, where she got fired from Chipotle, because she had a YouTube channel where she was documenting all the stuff. Fired from the Chipotle, took a chance, and became who she is. And I love how she is not in a box. She goes from here to there, in the middle, all over the place, and it's still all authentically Doechie. Didn't like how that reporter did Babyface, and I talked about that on Threads. Didn't like it. Threads is funny. All the social media is funny. I get almost 0 views, likes, or whatever on like a random post, But that post had like 3.9 million views. That happened on my TikTok too. When I post drama, when I get involved in drama, that's when it goes crazy. It's ridiculous.
People want the distractions.
Ridiculous. Babyface is a legend, by the way. Work appropriate. Thank you so much. Showing some love. Omega Star. Always great to see you, Rebecca. Great to hear from you as well. Thank you for being in the chat and livening that up as well. Hope you're having an amazing evening. Thank you so much. Ravi B, thank you so much for your super chat. Andrew S, giving Rebecca some support. I appreciate you. Tokyo Hans, thank you so much for the 2,000 yen. Stay amazing. I appreciate that. Prairie Fire, always. So with this donation, you can either get a rotisserie chicken or a single egg. Them groceries are never coming down. Food's cheap in Mexico, but they have be a stable government. Andrew says, just want to shout out the protesters around the country, mostly led by students. Absolutely. Media might not cover it, but they are out there leading the charge. Yep. I went and I supported them yesterday, if only brief. I've been seeing a lot of different protests going around. What I really love the most is the immigrant one with the Mexicans. Oh, baby, they in every corner, everywhere. I love how they are infiltrating these spaces. I didn't even know they were out in Atlanta. But they took over the streets of Atlanta, and I said, "Oh, baby, they came out." It was beautiful to see. Mm-hmm. Chris, absolutely. Remember 2024 CPAC? They said the fact checkers were the enemy. Absolutely, they did. And now look, Catherine Wolf. It takes more time and energy to disprove a lie, and we're automatically in a defensive mode. Angela said, did you see Ezra Klein's video from the weekend? No, I did not. I gotta check that out. Chris, mutual aid is activism. Activism without mutual aid is almost nothing. There's a reason the FBI viewed the Black Panther Party's free kids breakfast was the greatest threat to domestic security. Showed it.
That's a great point.
Narrative Dude, your perspective and efforts to stay sane in this tragedy are critical to those of us without a voice. It sounds trite, but hang in there. You and your peers are essential. Your voices are keeping this senior conscious and involved. Thank you so much, Narrative. I appreciate your $50 super chat. Omega Shinron Dragon, thank you so much. Good to see Big Time Backs. I love when you call me that. Big Time Backs back and monetized. Listen, the monetization has stayed here a little longer than usual. I'm a little suspicious. Joshua Keller, thank you for bringing up Glenn Burke. His story is so important and so tragic. Did a podcast episode on him on my baseball podcast. I'm gonna check that out. Thank you, Joshua, for yours super chat as well. I'm gonna check out what you did on him. That's Glenn Burke. If you guys don't know, you should definitely check him out. I didn't know anything about Glenn, or that Glenn was a part of the LGBTQIA plus community that didn't get any attention back when they were making him being gay the whole thing. But yes, so hopefully making his family proud by putting it out there, because that's a story that should definitely be shared and told. So shout out to Glenn Burke. All right, y'all, that's it. I love you guys and mean it. I know y'all gonna be here till the wee hours of the morning, but I'm going to sleep. Bye, guys.
You take care, Rebecca.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, Matt, did you want to go first this time? Since last
Should
time
I go
took
first? Forever? Yeah, last
totally
time.
Totally up to you.
I might as well go. All right, I'll go. Here we go. You ready? You ready to pull them up for me so I can just breeze through them?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Bay Photo is my first one. You see that? Yeah, Bay Photo member for 19 months with a super chat. This is a crime. That's the now famous Elon Musk reply guy quote. It's just you name a Doge boy, and then this is a crime. You will
Love
be
it.
jailed immediately. Chris with a membership chat, member for 19 months. The capitalists have an answer to global warming. Neom, Prospera, Pronomos Capital, Cop City, Charlie Day conspiracy theory meme. Oh, okay. I see what you're just doing there. All right, yeah. AOD fan with a membership super chat, member for 19 months. Have any of you heard of UNFT, Unfucking the Republic? It's a podcast and now on YouTube hosted by Max and 99. Might be worth having on. Oh, let me... Unfucking the Republic.
I haven't seen that.
I'll have to check it out. Rolando Capalleja with a super chat. Which team are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? I am pro Chiefs for the historic three-peat and to simply annoy MAGA and Trump will be present. I don't even know. I'm not a football guy, but sure, if it's the Chiefs that'll do that, then I'm pro Chiefs. That's the Taylor Swift team, right?
Yeah,
Then
that's who I'm rooting for if they're there. Yeah, only because of the Taylor Swift thing and the annoying MAGA.
Yeah. Tokyo Hans gifted me 5 memberships on YouTube. Thank you so much. Looney Tunes 9000 with a super chat live from the Glory Hole studio. It's the old terms. Cold Dog with a membership super chat, member for 18 months. Totally down for Rocket League. Oh, we should do that. Logan, I don't play Rocket League though. Logan Hill, member for 19 months with a super chat. For anyone, thoughts on the 50-51 protests yesterday? I went yesterday in Texas. At least 2,000 people. Maybe have someone from the organization on. Oh, I have to look this up. Are you familiar with this, Mike?
It's 50 protests in all 50 states for a day. It happened on the 5th. There's some on the 8th. Love to see this. Honestly, it gives me a lot of hopium because it kind of felt like nobody was doing anything at first, and now there's action. So I fully support all of them. I would love to chat with one of them for sure.
No, sounds good. Omar B with a $15 super chat. Thank you, Omar. Thanks for talking about this. I messed up by getting back on Facebook and saw so many libs punching down on protesters, not just those who didn't vote because of Gaza, and gloating over Trump's Gaza remarks. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Tokyo Hans with a super chat. I was planning on visiting my family in LA in April. Now 3 plane accidents and not even a full month into Trump. Not gonna risk my family on this. Yeah, I don't know if I would fly right.
I absolutely would not now. Now I am afraid of, like, before I said it wasn't like the crashing to me, it was the claustrophobia. Now the crashing is higher of my fear than the claustrophobia.
Like I don't and with the additional shit with the Doge guys working on the aviation system. Not gonna.
Just doesn't seem like a good. I mean,
pass.
Yeah, it's just don't feel good about it right now.
Right. Yeah. I'll pass. I'll pass. Parker with a super chat. At least we get a new Captain America film next week. I have no interest in it. I think it looks not so good.
I had no idea that we were getting a new Captain
America. I think
film.
it's the first one with Anthony Mackie as Captain America.
I'm so over Marvel though.
And Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk.
Seriously?
Yeah, Harrison Ford's going to be Red Hulk.
Wow.
I'm just not a big fan of Anthony Mackie. It's something about him.
I love Anthony Mackie. Have you seen Twisted Metal?
I remember he said something a while back that rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh no.
Listen, I'm glad there's a black Captain America. Like anyone who doesn't like it could go fuck themselves. There's a black Captain America in the comics. So to be clear, it's not about that. It's just I forgot what it was. Also, I just don't think he's a very good. I don't think he just has the stuff to be a leading guy. They could have got someone else, honestly.
I think that if you watch Twisted Metal, it might change your mind. He was really
I'll
endearing.
have to see.
It's
I'll
such a
have to see,
goofy ass stupid show, but it's fun.
Yeah.
He's great. In my opinion.
Also, Harrison Ford as Red Hulk. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it.
That is weird to me.
Yeah. Also, the story just doesn't look all that great, honestly. Also, the new Fantastic Four looks really bad too. The trailer for it.
I've not even seen
really
the
bad.
trailer. Really?
It looks really bad. I'm sorry.
I'm so
it
over
looks bad.
superhero shit in general is my problem. I'm fatigued on it. I've seen too much. I want something new.
Yeah, I mean, I think Marvel's losing it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think they lost it. Give me more Star Wars. At least the Star Wars stuff. People can complain all about it all they want, but even the weakest Star Wars stuff still feels like Star Wars. The
I think they're
weaker
milking
Marvel
that too.
No, they haven't done a new Star Wars movie. There's not gonna be a Star Wars movie for a while. There hasn't been a new one in a while already.
Well, I mean, like just with TV shows, some are good, some are bad, but I think that they're just doing too much. Where it's like, okay, I'm getting sick of Star Wars now too.
But people disagree about the fact that I think the Thing CGI looks horrible. Thing's voice is horrible.
I need to look at this
trailer. The dude is entirely made of rock. Why has he got a voice like that? It doesn't make any sense.
Does he sound like the Humanist Report?
What?
Is his voice like the Humanist
He has
Report?
he doesn't. He's supposed to have. He should have like a gravelly voice.
Yeah.
He sounds
I gotta
horrible.
hear it now.
I'm sorry. I don't think. I think the look of it. Something about it is looking AI to me, honestly. Which I'm not happy about. There's definitely some AI use there. That's not that it looks AI. I'm sorry. But yeah. I'm not looking forward to the upcoming Marvel stuff. I'm not a big Marvel guy anymore. They lost me after Infinity Wars. Just didn't get the excitement is gone for me. I could go for more Star Wars, honestly. All right, let's go to Bitey Face Puppy with a $10 Canadian super chat. Thank you. I told my dad in December that 2024 felt like 1939. I wonder if he sees what I meant now. Sal with a super chat. We stand with Blake Lively. F. Justin Baldoni. I haven't really been following enough of it. I do know the basics of it, and it seems like he's not a good guy. Ruben Walton with a super chat. Oh, message retracted. What?
This one?
I think the Ruben misspelled. Like I don't know if it makes any. Looks like StreamYard saved it. Favorite song on Perverts. Maybe you should have held that because they retracted it.
So I think that they're referring to the Ethel Cain album, the new one.
Oh, I don't know.
I can answer that question. I think Amber Waves
the
is
chat
the best
for the
one.
wrong guy. For the wrong guy. Yeah,
Amber Waves. I would say.
You need what's a song on Perverts? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm too sexy for my. It's a good song for perverts. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So, thank you so much again to John Lithium for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. That's the 4th week in a row that you've done this. Really, really kind of you, John. Thank you to C333949 for the $2. Jenk and Anna are so Kronk and Zyma. Brian Schroed, thank you for the $2. Effing Sausage Fest in here. I know. It was at first. Robert Angel, no message. Thank you so much for the support. Layla Spellwin, thank you. Membership for 2 months. Sachi Hoover, thank you for the 5. A fantastic squad assembled here who calls out the BS across all sides of the political spectrum. Appreciate you saying that. Okay, thank you for the $2. You can't spell felon without Elon. Very, very true. Vanguard, thank you so much. $2. What's up, Solidarity with Hank. Yes, absolutely. Adam Rich, thank you for the 10. Look for Jenk 2, Sad as Hell, and Jenk 3, Fat as Hell, The Final Meltdown, coming soon to a theater near you. Oh, okay, this is referring to the documentary Mad as Hell. Mad as Hell. Well, I would not fat shame him, because I don't think that that's polite. But, I see what you're doing with it being like
There's
that.
plenty to say about Jenk where you don't have to say that.
Yeah, because, I think that you could find a better criticism of him. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, Brady. Sam, thank you for the member chat. 66 months. That's amazing. Thoughts on the Emilia Perez controversy? I just saw the movie and I thought it was not good. I can't believe this movie got 13 Oscar nominations. I have never heard of it, so I cannot speak to that. Sorry about that.
I've not seen it. I have heard of it, and I'm somewhat familiar that there's a lot of backlash against the movie, and also the actress for past statements she's made. But I don't know enough. I haven't seen it. I don't know enough on it to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm completely out of my wheelhouse. I don't know if that's an actress or a movie, so I am not qualified to speak. I'm sorry, Sam. Brady, thank you for the 10. Hey, taking your advice to go for a local election and move up the ladder to a state house seat later on. Also going to start a political commentary channel. Thank you for inspiring me. Left is best. Hell yeah, that's awesome to hear. Love that you're doing that. Good luck. That's really awesome. Bomb, thank you for the $2. You guys are mere pimples on Jenk's you know what.
I'm sure we are.
Yeah. We're ticks. That's a better.
I mean, I'm under no like belief that I'm bigger than TYT. Like that's ridiculous. That's just reality. Doesn't mean we can't criticize the content of what they put out and what they do.
If you compare view count, then we are bigger than TYT currently. David is like my kid.
Oh really? Wait, hold on. Really?
Yes.
Really? Hold on.
At least temporarily. The leftist mafia is way bigger than TYT. We are the home of progressives, de facto.
No, well, wait, hold on. You can't even see their view. So many of their stuff are members only. I can't even see what's. Now, maybe your stuff is doing. My stuff is not doing what. Their view count is low. Let's put it that way. But I have a very small channel myself.
And to be very clear, views are something that is extremely volatile, so it can change. But I'm just saying, like, we're competing with TYT, and we don't have nearly as much.
Oh damn, David Dole! I didn't realize almost all of his videos get six views in the 6-figure count, pretty much.
Damn. So you can't really say David is just a pimple on Jenk's ass. But if you feel that way, then you have your right to live in an alternate reality.
I didn't realize David Dole was such a big
David is a fucking king in this space. Tokyo Hans, thank you for the 12-month membership and for the member chat. Oh no, that's wrong one. Okay. But thank you, Tokyo. Joshua Keller, thank you for the 5. I find it concerning how many liberals are very comfortable being horrible to Muslim people for not doing what the DNC wanted. Yeah, I find it really, really heartbreaking, but it's not surprising given like the response that we've seen from them to the genocide over the last year or so. So, yeah, it sucks. Lars, thank you for the 10.
What's David? Right now, I'm obsessed with looking at what David. Oh, it's all Canadian stuff. He's got to be one of the biggest Canadian politics YouTubers. That's why.
He is.
All his big view count stuff is on Canada.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Damn, I got to move to Canada and become a Canadian political commentator. There's an opening there. The Canadians are fiending for some political content, and only David Dole is there to feed them with that content.
The #1 Canadian YouTuber.
The Canadians are like, oh, we need the Tim Hortons version of political video content on the internet. And David Dole's like, here's your Boston cream. Here's your what did Tim Hortons call what's their version of the Munchkins again? The
I have
donut
no
holes
idea.
or whatever.
Lars, thank you for the 10.
Timbits, thank you. Yes, the Canadians are like, we need political Timbits. And David Dole's like, here are my bits. Here are my Dave bits, not Tim bits. You get my Dave bits.
I don't like the Timbits. That's a terrible name. I've never heard that. Lars, notice how Ethan didn't respond to yours or Lance's video. I did notice that, yeah. Funny how when someone is well-versed and can call out his obvious, and I mean easily Googled misinfo and clipping, he doesn't want to engage. Yeah, exactly. It's also why he doesn't want to talk to Sam Cedar, right? So, yeah.
Does Ethan Klein know that we exist? Like, he seems like someone who's so, like, detached from everything, honestly.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't. I'm not really sure. I
don't mean because he's
know.
so big, and I just mean he seems like he doesn't really pay attention to this. Like,
It also seems like he's detached, like, in the sense that he's spiraling as well. But no, he's not really in this world that much.
Right. Like, I don't know why. Like, to me, like, he just saw opportunities to, like the Steven Crowder or Sam Cedar thing. I didn't look at it as like him being like a lefty, YouTuber teaming up with the Sam Cedar. I just viewed it as, oh, it's one of those like YouTubers who post like whatever viral shit they can, and this was just a viral opportunity for him to make to do something in this space.
Well, it's because his producer Dan, I believe, was a viewer of Majority Report, and so he's the one who originally said Steven
Ethan, I'm sure
Steven
that like,
Crowder.
this is a viral thing that'll fit the you know what I mean, the show.
Yeah. Next up, we have Joshua Keller. Thank you for the 5. YouTube made me rewrite my super chat because it didn't want me to mention white people. If you say YT, I think that you can get through it. That's weird though. That you can say white people. I feel like you can. It might have just been fucking up though.
And if you put YT as in the letter Y and the letter T people, I'm just gonna assume you're trying to tell me YouTube people. That's how I'm gonna read it.
We might read it that way initially because we're YouTubers, but we'll get the point eventually based on the context. Corey Springer, thank you for the $5. Have you committed the sin of empathy today? Yeah, no, I made sure to not be sinful today.
Wait, hold on. I know how you could put white in the chat, and it's something that I discovered is how my daughter, she's in kindergarten, how she's learning about, because they were learning about she's learning about Martin Luther King and things like and issues with race in school and everything. And I discovered, because she was overheard talking, that they discuss white people. They use the term peach people. That's how they.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it's easier to explain it to them because I was talking with my son the other day about, because he's older, about racism or whatever, and she overheard me, and it was like, this was like close to Martin Luther King Day, I guess, and so it was a couple weeks ago, and I was like, we were talking, and we were talking about how people weren't very good to Martin Luther King, and then out of the blue she goes, "Oh, you mean the peach people?"
That's so cute. I love that. That's so wholesome. Lars, thank you for the 2. From the Riviera to the sea, dark joke, sorry. Yeah, that whole situation is very, very blackpilling, to put it mildly. Clayton Beans, thank you for the $10. What y'all are describing is shock therapy. They are trying to overwhelm the system and hoping for a frazzled and disorganized response. It can only work for so long. Still bad news, slightly good. Yeah. It's a lot, but yeah, I agree with you that I think it is only a temporary, like it's kind of like a flashbang. Eventually, I think it'll fade away, and people will be able to process this, or at least compartmentalize it a little bit better. Fritza, thank you for the $2. Rebecca, I definitely can relate. I'm so drained. Yeah, we're all feeling it. Kowalski, thank you for the 5. I don't need a happy place. Let the hate flow. Lift weights with a purpose. Live like a nobody. Go out like a legend. Not legal advice. Yeah, hey, that's good. That's good. Non-legal advice. Autistic Goblin, thank you for the $20. Very, very kind of you. Close your eyes and feel the floor under your feet and feel your breath out of your nose. This breaks through anxiety. Pretend you were born yesterday. Discover your world again. Touch grass and really feel it. Love you, Mike. Love you too. That is a really, really good piece of advice for people. Like, try to find joy in anything you can, no matter how small it is, and don't take for granted like your loved ones or your pets or your life. And always know, and like, not to be dark, but like, things can always get worse. So like, really appreciate where we are right now in the moment, as bad as things seem. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Zeitwise, think of the 249, the 100% boys. You know who I mean? Not at the moment. Maybe it'll come to me. It's late, so my processing power starts to like slow down. Omega Shenron Dragon.
Boys, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for the $5. I hate all these things going down and people around me are acting like all reports on the Trump admin are false. F them all and Elon's turbo versions. Yeah, don't let them make you feel like you're going crazy or you're overly hysterical. Don't let them gaslight you. You're right to feel like things are bad because they are bad. So, don't let them make you feel like you have Trump derangement syndrome or you're being a lib. No, things are genuinely bad, objectively speaking. So it's okay to feel bad about that.
Try to and I sort of, as weird as it may sound, this past like week or two sort of reinvigorated me, as weird as it sounds. Like, I've been doing more these past 2 weeks in terms of like writing. I brought back both my podcasts.
Nice.
I've been posting more about what's going on, getting stuff out there, reporting. That I was like, remember I was telling you I was burnt out and I couldn't like this sort of, because I'm feeling like this is a moment to do something.
Yeah.
And obviously posting is just posting. But like, for me personally, it's giving me an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I'm changing the world, but I've given myself, something to get active with for my own self, if anything.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's awesome. Because like,
so try to, do whatever the outlet is for you, like music, art, sports, photography, whatever it is. Like, that's isn't there like that saying where like the good art comes from like tough times or something like that. Like that
yeah, that's how that's genuinely how it is. I think that, and look, you could even use this time to find a new hobby, like take up drawing, maybe start walking. Like you can be a little bit experimental and try to find out what is going to help you cope. Because you need to find distractions right now. You can't just be 100% engaged. It's not healthy. And I'm trying to like teach myself how to process this, because I felt like before the election I was pretty good at compartmentalizing things, but I've kind of gotten off track and I've become a little bit more like numb, and I disassociate a lot more, and I'm not present in the moment, and I'm having a hard time focusing. So I need to recalibrate, but like it's good for you to like try to find something to keep you grounded or keep you distracted or busy.
Right. Someone in the chat suggested video games. I would just like to push back on that. That's the fascist hobby, so definitely do not play video games. No video games allowed. I'm joking. Whatever.
Somebody also says edibles in the chat. Very good recommendation, honestly.
Yeah, whatever you got to do, whatever. It is what it's. Figure out. If you're good at computers and stuff, maybe figure out ways to scam some right wingers. launch a meme coin.
Well, do you remember when that
by...
girl in, I think it was like 2020 or whatever, or 2019, I can't remember. She took a picture of herself in a MAGA hat, and she said, my black family disowned me for being a Trump supporter, and like people donated to her and shit. And then she was like, I don't remember how long it was. She's like, just kidding, I'm not a Trump supporter. Peace. And then we never heard from her again. That was the most fucking amazing.
Yeah.
She spent that money on something. I don't know. It wasn't like a lot. I'm sure it was like probably like $20,000, $30,000. It's been a while, so like I'm rusty, but that was amazing. I love that.
All right, we should all
Good for her.
become temporary conservatives to raise money, and then immediately.
My MAGA family abandoned me. Please help. I mean, Trump does it. They love being taken advantage of. I'm obviously don't scam people, but I'm just saying that was very funny.
Right. This is all humor, folks.
Yes. Don't actually scam people. Okay,
that's also a joke. Wait. Here. Let's put it this way: don't scam people. Not.
Damn, going for a 2006 Borat reference.
See, it's a joke.
Classic.
But what joke am I making? I don't even know. What am I saying? Who knows? Take it however you want.
You have to unpack it. Yeah. Anonymous Bastard Society, thanks for the $8. Hey Mike, Kyle Kalinske just broke news that Elon hacked the energy department, which controls nuclear information. Yeah, we're doing great as a country. Yeah, that is something that is like, you know, when we hear about like national security, 9 times out of 10 when the government says, oh, this is a national security issue, they're lying about it. That is a legitimate national security issue, like legitimately. So yeah, it was only a matter of time. They also got into the NIH, the Medicare, Medicaid computers, the DOE, Department of Education. There's a lot. Actually, the DOE is Department of Energy. Is it? Either way, it's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, I'm not surprised, but scary shit. Tokyo Hans, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Very, very kind of you. Really appreciate that, Tokyo. Omega Shenron, thank you for the 10. To clarify, HF as Harrison Ford as Red Hulk is because his original actor passed away. Mackey's character takes the name in the comics, and they're fighting over a resource that becomes metal that Wolverine has in his body. Oh, interesting. Okay. I did not know all that lore.
Oh, so this is gonna be the beginning of the X-Men, you think? We think this is the way this is all headed?
That would be cool. I like X-Men.
I just feel like it sucks that they did the whole Infinity War Thanos thing without the Fantastic Four, without X-Men. It seems weird, but I understand it wasn't their choice, but still. It feels like X-Men and Fantastic Four are going to be like sort of just pigeonholed in at the end of they missed the peak.
Yeah, for sure. That was peak Marvel. MCU,
like how can they show up now? Like, where the fuck were they when there was such a big threat that all the superheroes needed to come together? Like, what the fuck were they doing? Sleeping through it?
Apparently. Okay, let me see where I'm at here. So the next one is Layla Spellwin. Thank you so much for the £5. You will always be far greater than a pimple to me. Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that. Much love to everyone in the chat, especially my fellow trans people. We always have each other. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You don't have to suffer alone. There are other people going through the same exact shit, and you should always try to reach out and talk to them, for sure. The Tungsten Wire, thank you for the $2. You don't even need to scratch a liberal anymore. Yeah, good point. Nintendo Gaming Channel, thank you for the $2.79. What would you both do in a purge world if real? I would just try to defend people. I would not want to kill anyone.
I would take out Nintendo Gaming Channel. That's the first thing I'd do.
I would do everything I can to protect the people closest to me, and yeah. Nintendo Gaming Channel, thank you for the $6.99. Very kind of you. I hope Ramzi Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali face terrorist charges for playing North Korea propaganda by South Korea. Deepfake charges up to 7 years. I am not familiar with any of those names. I also don't know about the story, but maybe I'll hear about it.
He's the in real life streamer that goes around doing those like streams while walking through cities he's vacationing in and just starts harassing the people.
Oh, I think we actually talked about this before. Now that you bring it up, it's ringing a bell. Although I don't remember if we talked about this one. I know we were having a conversation a couple of months back about IRL streamers. I don't remember though specifically which one. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. Let me see here. Okay. Cell, thank you for the $1.99. How do we start separating from blue MAGA? We just have to take over the Democratic Party. As easy as that sounds. I don't know. It's we're kind of stuck with them in this unholy alliance, right? I genuinely don't know how to answer that question, unfortunately. Just we have to win out and they have to lose.
To answer this question, I'm going to refer back to Nintendo's question about what we would do in The Purge.
Well, there you go. Okay, last one. Chris, thank you for the $10 no message. Very kind of you. You got a couple more in if you wanted to go over them. We also got some. I'll read Rebecca's real quick too. She got a couple more.
Oh wait, I got some too. Hold on, I got 4 new ones since I stopped.
Chris, thank you for this to Rebecca, $20. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Matt.
Tungsten Wire with a super chat. Matt, you'd pull more views than TYT. It is my fault that my channel is not bigger. Everything's my fault. It's my fault that I don't have more paying subscribers because I never market and promote. It's my fault that everything of mine is not bigger because I'm really bad at, I've discussed this already 100 times. I feel dirty asking for money. It's my own fault. And then with this, it's my own fault that I don't do more like just videos that aren't live streams. It's my fault. Absolutely. I suck.
It's hard to like you have a full-time
I wish
job
I had
also,
time.
so.
I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time, honestly. I'm gonna try. That's why I'm feeling it's good. I'm feeling reinvigorated right now. I'm writing the newsletter. I restarted the podcast. I've been doing the streams so far for the past 3 weeks. I'm getting it going. The next thing is the videos, right? Let's see if I can pull it off. I'm trying. I'm trying to keep active, trying to keep my head in the game. Yeah, all right, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can do next, I should say. Dave L with a super chat. Richard Medhurst got locked up by the Austrian feds recently, and they took all his stuff, devices, computers, papers, books. Why though? What happened?
Yeah.
What are they accusing him of doing? I gotta tell you the truth. I've heard some not such great things about him. I'm not saying that means he deserves whatever's happening to him. I don't know what he did.
Yeah, I haven't heard at all about
or
this.
they're
Wow.
claiming he did. Honestly,
Damn.
There's been from what I've seen though, there were accusations of him grooming people.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know what they're going after him for. But
Or I don't think it was grooming. I think it was like
I can't
emotional
speak about
abuse. It's been a while though, so I don't want to like say anything that's incorrect. I just remember a while ago. I know
the
what you're
allegations were that he was doing such not such great things.
bad things, yeah, to partners and stuff. Yeah, like emotional stuff like that.
Again, unrelated to that's just really all I know about him. I don't really pay attention to him. I didn't even know that he was still.
When he first started, I was on his show a long time ago. I have not kept in touch, so I don't know. I haven't heard about this, and I actually haven't even seen. I haven't heard from him in a very long time. Like, seen him on Twitter or anything like that. I think he kind of like stopped posting a lot after the allegations came out. Yeah, I have not heard about that.
Right. Chris with a $10 super chat. That's it. Just wanted to throw me $10. No message. I appreciate that, Chris. Very kind of you. Were there a few from for Rebecca or for you left, or
there's some for David Dole left?
No,
so
might as well read David's.
Yeah, 5 from Bay Photo. Please stop cooking jank. You're making me actually want to log back into Twitter. Yeah, David has been on a fucking roll. Vanessa became a member to David Dole. Thank you, Vanessa. Koru, member chat to David.
65 months. Oh my God,
that's a long time.
How long is that? That's 5.
At least a year.
More than 5 years.
At least 1 year. Yeah, no, that's a long time. That's impressive. TYT had so much promise at one time. Seems we are doomed to constant disappointment. Yeah, you just can't have any heroes. Like, when you combine TYT and also like, I was gonna say Hassan, Ethan. That to me is really, really depressing. Also, because I've been a long time fan of Ethan. I've talked about it, and it's really sad to see them both crash out at the same time in very, very similar ways. Lizzie Bennett. Oh, it's not popping up. There we go. Clapping Jenks butt cheeks. Nice. Tokyo Hans, member chat to David. Thank you.
Why do you always say that? It makes me feel so uncomfortable.
It's it's a saying.
Clap them cheeks.
It's like, kicking ass,
Just say kicking ass, please. It doesn't really make me feel uncomfortable, but it definitely, I definitely could only.
It conjures an image is the problem, right?
Yes.
I agree. Yeah. To me, I don't have that image anymore because I just say it so much. Like he clapped his cheeks, so it doesn't even occur to me that it's like, I was gonna say something nice to David or nice about David, but now he isn't here.
It's all right. Say something mean about him then. He's not here. There you go.
Fuck
That's
David.
the way to go.
And then finally, Foresto, 5 for David. Thank you, Foresto. I occasionally fantasize about scamming MAGA with cream.
Oh, wait, this one was for me. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh, is
I
it
didn't
you?
read
Okay.
this. Foresto, I occasionally fantasize about scamming MAGA with cream to protect versus gay.
That's
what?
Basic hilarious.
Idea being the sunlight is actually rainbow, so sunscreen. I don't get what you're saying. Do you get it, Mike? I'm lost.
He's basically like, it sounds like a snake oil. Like he says, if you take this cream and you put it on, it'll protect you from becoming gay from the rainbows outside or sun. Just something stupid like that's fucking hilarious.
I got it.
Alex Jones would buy it. And then I got one, and this is the last one. I exist, $2. Thank you. I'm helping organize in my region through my DSA. That is a very good thing to do, honestly. If you have anyone to organize with locally, you should definitely connect with them. I think that checking if there's a local DSA chapter or maybe starting one, that's a great idea. So good for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Do you have anything on Twitch?
Oh, right. I do. Let's see. We got Mumbles459 resubscribed for 6 months at tier 1. They've been a subscriber for 7 months. Thank you so much, Mumbles. Justin Freakin rated me earlier. Thank you, Justin Freakin. The Dumbest Dog subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much, you dumb dog. And this little channel called The Surfs TV rated me before. Wow. How nice of The Surfs. Folks, youtube.com/MattBinder, twitch.tv/MattBinder. My newsletter is at disruptionist.com. I broke a story this week about how crypto scammers were able to take over old Trump tweets and inject their meme coin scams into them. Like they took over the links that Trump had posted years ago. So check that out, disruptionist.com. There'll be more pieces going up there shortly. And Mike, what would you like to, anything you'd like to promote?
I don't have anything to promote, but I do have one more super chat from Nintendo Gaming Channel. Thank you, Mike and David. What you do in Pharaoh Plague?
David's not here.
I don't know what that is. But thank you.
What is Pharaoh Plague?
I don't know. Did you want to? I was going to ask you. Did you want to raid Frogan? because she's live and she just had to deal with a bunch of bullshit because Ethan put her in his Hassan content nuke and she got death threats and shit after it. So I feel like it'd be nice to send her some love.
Sure, let's send that leftist mafia raid over to Frogan. Hold on, let me find Frogan in the. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna hit start right. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you all very, 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 very soon. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and my newsletter. And
all
I
right.
am hitting. You hitting right now?
Yep. Take care, everybody.
I did too. Peace.